for one goal. Do you have what it takes to be a champion worthy of the highest glory?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the World Championship of Mobile Legends. Bang, bang. It is the M1. My name is Contract. Alongside with me is Gideon Q, joining in on the table. And we'll be casting alongside some of the greatest talents across the globe to actually fend for that title to be crowned as global champions of M1.
Yeah, and I'm so excited for today because now we're moving on from Group B from yesterday to Group C. And it's going to be really interesting because we've got some top-tier teams in there, and I'm excited to see some of the more international teams play against them as well, just to kind of like, scale the power levels here.
That's right. Speaking of power levels here, there's definitely a lot of all these top dogs that you mentioned here. There's Joe Esports, there's Sunspark, there is Todak as well. So, of course, when you put them all together, this will be
Hey, don't forget Evil Esports. They're also in there too.
That's right. Almost lighting it off of my mind. But of course, with this sort of the lineup here, we're about to see some epic Mobile Legends action. So, of course, without further ado, let's of course give a huge shout out to our organizers as well as our sponsors here, as the whole M1 World Championship of Mobile Legends is presented by Moonsun, supported by KS, and of course we are live from YouTube Gaming, and our official sponsors will be U Mobile.
Yeah, and overall, it's been just a great event so far, and it's only going to get better from here on out. And I'm excited to see where this is going to take a big turn, because even though there are some, previous MPL competitors, where does Evil Esports and Geo kind of stand amongst them? Like, where can they actually take a couple of games off of them? Like, we've seen Burmese Ghouls do a really good job in Group B, but Group C is just a whole new ball game.
Oh, yes, indeed. And now that we're seeing some of all these players as well as teams qualifying in through the M1 qualifiers instead of the MPL, of course, it's not really that easy right for them as well. They have to get themselves across with so many of these games being played out to even get here to begin with.
Yeah.
And now in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, they're looking to be playing in the grand finals. Of course, if you guys haven't got your tickets for M1, it'll be happening in Axiata Arena from Friday all the way up to Sunday. So you guys still got time to book your tickets for the grand finals.
And though we're going to have the schedule put up in a little bit, but for the first game of today, Sunspark versus Todak, already with a heated matchup. And it seems every time we're casting the first games of the day, it's always something explosive.
Well, definitely that's a great way to actually shake things up. If you guys are not really all too ready for the day or even the coming weekend as well, now it's time for us to check out the rules as well as the schedule if you guys are new to the M1 group stages.
As M1 is just around the corner, let's take a look at how the group stage live draw format is going to work. The 16 participating teams of M1 will be sorted into 3 pools, with the first and second pool consisting of the MPL qualified teams and the third pool consisting of the M1 qualified teams. From the 3 pools, teams will then be randomly drawn into 4 groups, with each group consisting of 1 team from the first pool, 1 team from the second pool, and 2 teams from the third pool. Team EVOS Singapore will be automatically seeded into Group A due to the home ground advantage of winning MPL Malaysia Singapore Season 4. In each group, each team will play 3 best-of-3 round-robin matches. Placings will be determined through the point system, with 3 points awarded for a 2-0 match, 2 points for a 2-1 match, 1 point for a 1-2 match, and 0 points for a 0-2 match. With that, the top 2 teams of each group will proceed to the playoffs, with the first place teams in the upper bracket and the second place teams in the lower bracket. These 8 teams will then go through a best-of-3 double elimination format. Day 1. All 8 teams will play on the first day of the playoffs. All matches will be played in a best-of-3 format. Day 2. The lower bracket matches will be played in a best-of-3 format. The winner bracket finals will be played in best-of-5 format. Loser going into the lower bracket finals the next day. Day 3. The lower bracket finals will be played in a best-of-5 format as the starting match of the day. The grand finals will then be played in best-of-7 format. The upper bracket team will be given side pick priority first. And with that, the first ever world champion of Mobile Legends Bang Bang will be crowned. Tune in starting this 11th November to witness history being made.
And we're here to continue be making history. Group C, so far, nothing much has happened yet, but we want to see those power levels one more time. I cannot keep reiterating this because the big question on our minds is where are these qualified teams going to go? Who is going to be making out of Group C to potentially compete against Group A and B and their top competitors?
That's right, and for Group C here, we see some of all these greatest teams from across the world. Of course, I have reiterated it a couple of times before. Like, this kind of looks like the Group of Death that we did mention about. Like, Group B is definitely well stacked up, but Group C as well, we're seeing pretty much a great balance when it comes to how all these teams actually play their games as well. Like, some of them will opt to actually go for that sort of a team fighting and objective sort of gameplay. Well, we did see some of the Malaysians actually favoring that sort of split push. And of course, now we're going to get ourselves that first game of the day, and we'll see what we'll have. And of course, we're starting off the day here coming with Sunspark here, fighting off against home favorites Todak, and on game 2 we have Todak versus Evil Esports at 11:30.
Yep, followed by Sunspark against Geo against Evil, so on and so forth, as they need to play their single round robin to get all the games against the other team. So, if you want to support your favorite team, make sure in chat alone, you're already hashtagging them, you're already showing your love and support. Make sure, because they're going to need it if, you know, they drop a couple of games, they need that extra support. But coming into this, right, look at the prize pool. This is what they're going to be looking to play for. The winner gets 80,000 USD, and everyone wants a chunk of that pie.
And we're looking at the biggest prize pool that we ever had for Mobile Legends Bang Bang. That's $250,000 up for grabs for every one of these teams. And of course, at least there's a little bit something for even teams that made it to Kuala Lumpur, and they will not block home empty-handed. But of course, if they are here, they're looking for the top prize. $80,000, of course, is a huge chunk of money. Well, I'm not too sure how much of diamonds you can actually purchase with that sort of money, but of course, if you work so hard for it, it's definitely going to be pretty much rewarding, and you can walk away and say, hey, I'm a world champion of Mobile Legends.
I'm a world champion. You check out my $80,000 worth of diamonds account. Like, is that too far? Is that too far to go for diamonds at that point? Like, you're set for life.
Oh,
for
yes.
that M1 account.
I'm pretty sure that you don't really need too much of that, unless, you know, like, every new release, you just buy every single skin on the table, then that's going to be a little bit of that different story. But of course, jokes aside, now we're seeing Sunspark here, fighting off against Todak. like both of these teams, of course, play some high tempo game,
Yes.
and I'm really looking forward to see what Sunspark has to offer. And so that here comes as the first runner-up of the MPL MYSG.
Exactly. I think you bring up a really good point here because both sides play a very interesting. Well, I wouldn't say interesting. They play meta, but they have their particular, as you said, tempo, the pace of the game, how they want to kind of force out their advantages. And I feel like Todak is a little bit more, controlled in that sense. They're not willing to go all out into an all-out brawl, take 50-50s unnecessarily just to create that lead. I do think Sunspark, on the other hand, mechanically, these guys are sound. They're very fine, and they're very willing to take 50-50s because they are very confident in their self-capability to actually win those 50-50s. It feels more like a 55-45 half the time,
Or
every single
51
time.
at times,
And
like.
yeah, that 1% could just be enough to get you that lead. And we've seen this before, if Sunspot gets a lead, they can just plow through. But, then again, hopefully they learned their mistakes from their own MPL and they don't actually get reverse sweeped again this time around.
That's right, and now, of course, we have a little bit of a recap. If you guys missed any action of the previous day, here are some of your favorite moments of day 1 or day 2 in that sense.
Some tempo control, Burmese schools
my
are the
goodness.
ones dictating where to fight and who to kill. And like this, Evil X even surviving with a sliver of health. That is a Numinum Blast counter go. And this is too deep coming in for Burmese schools. The two heroes will
Just threatening, but of course, they're gonna kill the ground.
That is the first push coming in from Burmese schools, ladies and gentlemen. And basic attack, time 3000 coming in.
He wants that revenge follow as well with the chance for the jump right. He gets the stun onto Scott. Wrong move, they go away. Breezy gets ambushed and gets taken down by Vin. And this is what you want to see from Axis East with the recovery. Caller really with the brush, but cancels by Scott. He hooks him away. And then will give Ranger the killing spree. Pacing now. Evo's going on top of Janna, but there is Breezy in the back line. The front line is actually split for Team Gosu, and this is perfect for Team Axis. They want to collect back in. The Omen, the Channeling Omen is there, but basically for the damage was not enough. And now, the Guardian's Barrier will find the goal.
Looking hard, he's chucking them out, but he disrespects Conan. Conan gets an initial chain back, but again, a rock and a hard place. Skylar is that time. Comes right in. They pick up an easy kill. Killing spree coming in for that Gary. They're going to be knocking onto.
But a little bit of defense from getting up. What a nice block in there. But of course, there's Esmeralda. Molly Storm was going to connect. Damage from Kimmy may not be enough. The Sams goes down, however. But the Hylos as well. Breezy. Now.
Here we go. That is a chunk of damage coming in from the side of Team Blue Zero.
My goodness, the Wanderers!
The Wanderers is too real.
Luminum Blast is going to be Gas is going to hit on the two. There's going to be the shutdown finally. They jump onto Conan this time. Can they kill the Sams? Yes, they can.
They have the second goal area. The fantasy does come on. Iceland Cola once again goes halfway and rejuvenate. Does keep and the Bob still alive, but now Burmese go. Time for the re-engage. Now Kid jumps right in and maybe a big call out. Does not get the divine judgment off. So Team Gosu still survive on this, but basic his call out. The last insanity is an insane move from Team Gosu, but not in a good way. A general also call as well. A007.
That's just off the wall, but the rest of the team is not going to let him go without a fight. Lasted taking so much damage, but it ain't going to be enough.
Conan is running for his life. He's trying to escape. Only one tick of health left, and he does walk it out alive, but not so fortunate for the Gushin as Axis Esports tries to close things up. And now I'm feeling really pumped up after, of course, having that sort of recap. And yesterday we saw Burmese Goals secured the first ever perfect finisher in the group stages.
They go with 6 points, 0 losses. They won all their matches 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, locking themselves in a very comfortable spot in the upper brackets of playoffs here. The question is, can Sunspark or even Torak make up and maybe even go even with them in their scores in Group C.
I feel like this group here will be a lot more challenging in that sort of sense. Of course, with due respect to other teams coming from Group B as well. But when we're looking at some of all these names, which are pretty familiar to some of the rest of the world, Sunspark here definitely has something that they want to pull up in terms of the meta. Well, yesterday, Boomis goals definitely used that jaw hit into effect. I'm looking at Sunspark here. Perhaps they will bring something really different to the table. Back in the days, of course, from certain regions, they've always brought out really great pocket picks, even like supports coming to the table where we hardly see from some of all these Southeast Asian teams in this recent patch. So who knows? There might just be something up their sleeves.
Yeah, that's true. And while these players are actually getting ready back here, I'm excited to see what they're preparing for. I've been hearing a lot of chitter chatter, seeing what they're willing to try to actually go for in terms of what they want to do in terms of strategy. But we're just going to have to wait and see before we really answer that question. But I'm hoping, because it's my personal favorite, sticking to the meta is the way to go.
That's right, sticking to the meta is definitely something that's safe, but of course we're still having a little bit of that sort of stuff to show you guys, and here are your top 5 of the day 2.
And but now the divine judgment connects on the goal line, goes for the aura, doesn't connect, can't do anything. Reminds that keeps him away, eventually gets the goal down. Here comes the Godstone, Mister there, will get taken down from the count as well. Verbi's goes, they're keeping us out, but Ice is overextending, but no! Here comes Kinsey.
Once he gets in, penalty zone already used on the noise. Oh, big cash here! Great time, it's breaking into penalty zone! This is huge! They try to stop, but they don't.
Now here comes Mlbb, just gonna play a little bit sneaker to request the line in there. Where's the glory popping? Here it is. They want to set things up here. They baited them. Candy comeback just got baited. KK01. The flicker inject the pulls one. Here's another. Now, Nana, you're gonna be a donkey, and I don't know what you're gonna be running here. Sorry, a raccoon in this regard.
Beeline towards the rest of the team, but we will find a few first. Lawrence pathway a bit too late, but Paula will go for the case. He found the Warhawk. Evo's going on top of Jenna, but there is Weezy in the back line. The front line is actually split for Team Ghost, and this is perfect for Team Axis. They want to collect back in. The Omen, the Shining Omen is there for Crazy, but the damage was not enough. And now, the Guardian Baron will find the goal. Evil X will make sure Team... And here we go. There is a charm of damage coming in from the side of Team Doom Zero.
Right, release the Wilders.
The Wilders is too real.
Domino Best is gonna hit on the 2. There's gonna be the shutdown finally. They jump onto Conan this time. Can they kill the Dams? Yes, they can. But look at the base. Mr. Bash.
Turbo Mashup.
And with that, that's your top 5. I mean, that was just a completely solid line of play, and I'm excited to see some of these teams actually make their own top 5 coming in today.
Well, what was your favorite moment of yesterday?
I mean, obviously, it's got to be with CC as well as the Team Gosu as well. I mean, that series alone was just so hectic. It could have gone any way, but, you know, Team Gosu still managed to get on top. Unfortunately, both of those teams have been knocked out.
This is the nature of competition, and even in Group A, we saw EVOS Esports Singapore being the top dog of MYSG. They were the first one to falter as well. And of course, there's only going to be 2 of these teams that will make it out of Group C. So tomorrow is going to be the same thing for the side of Group D as well. But now, locking our eyes in towards this matchup here, let's talk a little bit about Todak, because we've already mentioned about Sunspark for a little bit. And for Todak, we've seen them play pretty much well in the meta as well.
Yes.
But there are times that they are not really on that peak form where they try something brand new. So do you think that they will be ready? Because all these teams were given enough time after all the MPLs concluded.
Well, personally, I feel like when you're coming into something like M1, you have to have some form of preparation here, especially with the other teams. But more importantly, you need to play something on an international level. You need to start scrimming. And that preparation is so important. And I think with a lot of teams, you can clearly see certain teams not being as prepared as others, and it shows in the group stages alone. You gotta, again, natural selection, weed out the weak as much as you can. We only want the best here at M1, and I think that's why this group stage is so important for a lot of these teams, because not only is it the training ground to kind of tell you, hey, are we worth it to actually go into the playoffs, or is what we thought how the game should be played for so long actually wrong?
That's right, and there's so many of all these teams here just trying to prove themselves, and now it's time for Todak as well as Sunspark to head into battle here to see who will come up on top. And with the very first band here heading over to the side of Sunspark, what will they possibly go for? Of course, we got the most band heroes, which is Xborg as well as Kufra here. So do you expect the same thing to be offered between both of these teams?
Honestly, I think Grok 100% pick ban so far. Not too big of a surprise. Same as Xborg. The question is whether they kind of want to let Xborg go. Most teams say no. Grok, most of the time, they kind of want to leave it up to pick it for themselves. Ooh, Harith coming in. Very early ban coming in from Sunspark.
I'm still liking the Harith ban here. There are times that even Harith was left out in the open. It might not be picked by some of these teams, so it really depends on what they really want to focus on at this point. Now, Todak usually would go for either a Grok pick, so I don't think that they'll be axing that one out, but Fuzaken here is opting to also lock it in if it's ever being left out. So Todak just taking their sweet time here as we see, of course, the lineup for Todak will consist of X-Ray, Moon, Iwan, Chiku, as well as Ninas.
Yep, and Kufra, again, he just hasn't been able to really touch the battlefield too often. A lot of teams opt to not deal with him at all. So obviously, I do think it's pretty smart. A lot of teams who did have been able to touch Kufra basically have just destroyed games.
Oh, yes, indeed. Well, I would definitely say that Tyrant's Rage into walls is definitely one huge element that you don't really want to deal with, especially when you are fighting in choke points in the jungle. Now, we're also seeing a lot of all these players from the MPL always utilizing that Kufra into great effect. Same goes to Esmeralda, though she has been hit by a couple of all these nerfs, but it doesn't seem like it's stopping all these top teams from picking her at all.
I mean, even though she is S-class, the teams who have decided to ban her or even had the opportunity to pick her only have a 50% win rate so far. So really, it technically is just a roll of the dice based on the group stages alone from day one, data compiled from day 1 and day 2. I'm not so sure whether it's as good of a pick as we all mentioned, especially at such high level play, because a lot of teams are just like, you know what? How about no? How about we don't? How about we just play around it? How about we lock in something like a Kaja of some sort, just to make sure you don't get to play the game?
I feel like her position right now is similar to what Kimi is, because Kimi has received a couple of nerfs as well, and she wasn't really getting all too much of that attention. Even sometimes that pick is being left out in the open. Just such as right now, we're seeing a Chao ban coming in from the side of Todak here, which is pretty interesting, which means that they're going to open up another strong pick for the side of Todak. Now, Fuzaken really got to pick a poison here.
I really think this is so smart, because if you ban out Cho, that kind of limits the pool. Kaja is open. Xborg is open. Rock is open. Oh, look at that death stare.
Oh.
Look at that. He knows the camera's on him, baby.
Oh, he's not really going to stop until you budge. So cameraman's probably a little bit shaken there with that sort of reaction. Now, that's going to be the Xborg being picked up, and I'm liking the fact that these boys here are already starting off the day with some great spirit.
Yeah, I would like to see Todak actually pick up the Grok Kaja here, but then again, high loss is on the table as well, so it's like, pick your poison.
I would like to have a Hylos on the team in that sort of sense. So, Todak's reading my mind as well. Well, these players definitely know that getting these sort of picks is definitely really safe for the first phase of the game.
Agreed.
But this means that SS, they now have the option to get that Kaya, and they won't let it slide away.
Yeah, Kaja is going to be hovered over as of right now, but what are they going to pair it with is a bigger question. They could pick their mage up here and then kind of hold off on the tanks, but, carry a great counter pick to actually deal with the Grok. Overall, I think this is pretty solid, a pretty solid pick. The question is, do they want to actually go for it? Because then, second ban phase, they're going to be losing out on the mages. So again, it's one of those choices like, do I pick it, do I not pick it, or have I revealed too much information for Todak?
I would say that they definitely haven't revealed all too much. This is pretty much standard for South Todak, but from the side of Sunspark, they also have the option of picking the Lolita as well as the Kaja, and instead, they're going in for that Lunox as well as the carry pickoff. So, which means that Todak, after this phase, they just have to remove one of these and may be able to also get one for themselves. So, who knows with this sort of Changa pick? I think that what they should do, Todak should possibly pick up maybe well, something a little bit more offensive to defend it, or even steal that Lolita away. But then again, they've already got so many great frontliners, they need a heavy hitter.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we see Sunspark, they have all their heavy hitters already, and I think for Torak, they might have a slight advantage here. However, the one thing that they have to worry about is actually dealing with the Boxia. Now, they can ban out Lolita, very clear counter pick. Ooh, they want to get rid of the Kaja. Instead, they're willing to give up the Lolita as well as the Baxia. I was expecting them to ban one or the other and let them actually have the Kaja, because in most situations, she needs to kind of like play towards the side flanks to catch somebody off or make a big play, which is easy to deal with if you have Purify.
Now, of course, it really depends if they would actually prefer having that Purify, of course. Now, for Todok's side, they could definitely try to negate them from actually securing better picks, but they're going in with this Leomort pick. So, what do you feel about Leomort? Because we don't see it all too often, but it's definitely something that's pretty reliable heading into the late game.
I think what they needed was a way to kind of like deal with the X-Mark. I think Leomort is a pretty smart way to deal with him, though yes, his early game not as great as the X-Mark for sure, but as he scales, he's just going to get better and better and better. You last Insanity, I'm basically just going to kill you the moment I pop my Phantom Steed. So to me, it makes a lot of sense. They're finishing out the composition with the Granger. I like it. Overall, this is really, really good. Like, Granger so far, 73% win rate. It just feels right.
Yes, and 73% win rate is definitely that sort of a percentage that's off the charts if you really want to consider in all these competitive play. And now that Todok's having that sort of take up there, it might just have some slight edge over that carry, especially in the mid game as well as the early game, where they could definitely deal a chunk of damage. But it really depends on how some of these teams rotate to actually reap rewards out of the jungle, or even secure things like the turtle as well. Now, in terms of team fighting, which team do you prefer?
Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Before I even answer that, I want to thank Alayla Lele from Reddit itself for actually providing a lot of these stats for us here at the Caster's Table. Really great work. She compiled it, he or she compiled it over the past 2 days, and it's just a comprehensive list. So thank you to the Redditor who actually put it back up. Definitely helps us at the Caster's Table. To answer your question here, I personally think it's kind of 50-50 because it's based on 2 conditions for Sunspark and 1 condition for Torak. I think Torak has a very linear line of gameplay. Siege, if you fight, we can kind of, you know, re-engage into the fight. They're not looking to force anything out unless it's a catch. And in most cases, we've seen the high loss not really being able to, like, it's not a Kaja. It can't just like, hey, you are going to die. It doesn't get to pick and choose. Kaja, on the other hand, needs to land on some big hitting targets. Knock down the Leomort, maybe. That's 1 point of contention on the top side of the map. They could look for the Chang'e for sure. I don't think she's going to be in range to get Granger, but I think Chang'e is something that they need to be very, very aware of because her range is just so long. She walks up, if she gets chunked out by the Meteor Shower, it's not going to be a good time for them. So I think Sunspark, they kind of have to look for many different angles to deal with Torak right now. And again, whoever gets that early mid-game lead is going to have, like, net themselves 2, maybe even 3 turrets.
Yeah, perhaps so. And I'm really looking at how Sunspark could approach this is to bully off that Leomort in the early game. Now, speaking of that, we're heading in towards our very first game of Day 3. Sunspark versus Todak here. And of course, Sunspark on the blue side versus Todak on the red. Now, we've already talked about a lot of all these picks. Now, let's get towards that Lunox pick, because from what I remembered, we're seeing a lot of great work from all these players that picked up the Lunox. But wow, what do we have in the side of the river here? It's Nenas Chiku already soaking a little bit more damage here from Felicia as well as the JP, but they are not letting them getting anywhere close to proxying the wave.
This is such a bad trade because overall, like, Chiku, he got chunked out really hard, forcing out the Rejuvenate from the Nas to kind of keep him at a healthy amount. They're going to get the cooldowns. Which of course is always great, but again, like, if you want to go for something aggressive, you need your mid lane, and Todak, they understand, like, yeah, we've got a strong early game, let's use our mid rotation to kind of steal away your buffs.
Yeah, I can see great aggressive plays coming from Todak, and Flicker has been taken off the side of Felicia, and immediately look at it, how efficient they just went in for the raids, and Todak now will be able to secure that river crab. While on the top side, they're about to do the same coming from Sunsparks of the Philippines.
Yeah, I personally think that they should contest topside for sure, but again, I think they want to focus all their energy towards the bottom side. Oh no, Leomor's in trouble here. X-Ray instantly goes down. He disrespects trying to use the momentum to try and gain some sort of advantage. He gets punished instead. Rezio gets a good chunk of the power of nature here. Guardian's Barrier is popped, but let's look at that replay one more time. Because as we can see here, he definitely disrespected, walks up too far, and then he already had at least half of that gauge, passive gauge from X-Ray. The moment the true damage starts kicking in, he was basically goner.
Yeah, and look at how much damage that they just put out in that split second of time with Kill VJ, as well as the Renzio going in, and here comes E1 flickering after the fight, but it will be Renzio going for the chase, and Fuzaken will seal the deal, and that's 2-0 for the side of Sunspark.
Yep, and Todak giving another kill over. JP taking quite a bit of damage, but at least he's able to pull backwards. Wait, hold on. He takes a full hit of Rondo. That last touch, the crit was able to pick him off.
Oh my, and they did not expect that sort of damage output coming from Chiku all too early of the game. Now Lolita, of course, a little bit way too late. Mahmoud's going to receive a little bit of that tickle as E1 has arrived to the scene, and E1 is just, of course, not trying to overextend. Well, Rafflesia, once again, right under the tower. What can Rafflesia do to keep themselves safe?
Oh, hold up. Look at the rotations. Look at the rotations, because Sunspark wants to collapse onto mid lane. Do they notice? Todak don't know. Rafflesia goes down, but Chiku might be in trouble here. He has to pull back as the rest of the team pulls it. Glorious Path is already now down, but Fukusen isn't going to let them escape. Hurricane Dance right on top of them. Nunas is in trouble. He has no support from the team, but Todak, they're willing to sacrifice 2 members and hopefully get Turtle off of this. They are rushing it down with the Meteor Shower to net themselves some gold after that heavy loss in the bot lane.
What a beautiful Hurricane Dance right from the corners of the tower, and they did not see this one coming. Look at Nunas, he's already all taken off a back seat, and Nunas could only run the opposite direction, and that was definitely a great flank coming in from the side of Sunspark. Well, Todak managed to secure that turtle over the top side, and now things are looking pretty good for the side of Sunsparks here with about 1k of a goal lead.
Yeah, and it was great job by Fukusen because you managed to get, cut them off. Ooh, good play. JP is in trouble. He's in so a little more damage. The wild charge comes through, clips JP. JP is not having a good time, but Sunspark, remember, they're still ahead in gold. They're still in it to win it.
Wow, they're hammering each other on so early in the morning, and now look at it. It's less than 4 minutes of the game, and we're already getting 7 kills in total, while Fuzaken's just trying to secure this. Well, I'll just take it back. He didn't have to secure it.
They were close to securing it, but once you see like the rest of the team of Todak start moving into the jungle, you have to really question how many members are committing. Oh, Meteor Shower here. Ooh, takes away the buff. Nobody has retribution to steal it away.
Wow, I really like how Moon just easily take that one up without even needing to look what's inside the brush, and now X-Ray's in trouble. He's going to be flanked by all 3 members again, but here comes Moose again, pinned by the corner of the wall. But X-Ray's going to be pretty well alive.
Great Purify here. They're going to dive the mid lane here as the rest of the team starts pulling through. That's Sonata forcing out the flicker from JP. He is not going to go down this time round as the rest of the team pulls back up. They don't have a wave. Rafflesia finishes off that siege turret. The rest of the team of Sunspark is trying to collapse on them. Todak will not get that side flank this time.
I just love how these teams are not even giving each other any rest at all. Every time where they actually get one pick up, the other team will be actually doing some objectives or even trying to crush down some towers. And now that we're seeing that turtle spawning in towards the river here, we're looking at members of Todak trying to secure it, whilst Fuzaken's just trying to chase off E1. Well, I'm looking at Todak here, who is hiding behind the shadows here, just waiting for Sunspark to strike.
Yeah, they can't start. They would like to start it. However, Leomord, he still has to clear up that top side, and I think they just want to stall here. They're just kind of, waiting it out, seeing how Sunspark kind of reacts to this, because Leomord will move at any point in time. Bottom lane, Xborg is taking quite a bit of damage. Last Insanity, he pulls it out. Rezio, he's going to be A-okay, but this is not going to be good for the top side as X-Ray is in a lot of trouble, even with the Phantom Seed. It's just too much true damage coming in from the carry.
So much of that DPS output coming from Rafflesia, and now with Todak here, having some easy takedown on that turtle with the help of Moon, of course, on that Meteor Tower. Now Renzio's all low, Flicker being popped as well, and somehow he still managed to escape, but not for long. Chica's going to push them all over, and speaking of pushing them off, it's going to be Fuzaken securing that kill, and now E1's running for his life, and with that, Sunspark comes out with a total of 7 kills for now.
Such a good play coming in from Fuzikin here. He uses the 1,000-pounder, gets right in the middle. Let's look at the replay here as Rezio, he goes down, but look at that rejuvenation. It pops down and Fuzikin is just like, no, I am not letting you abuse that. I'm gonna push you out of the zone.
That was so beautiful. I can't really explain how they actually reacted so quickly, but look at how Todak is still pretty much equivalent in terms of gold. It's only 400 that sets them apart, and there's already Athena Shields as well as Axe for both the Export as well as Lolita. On the other side, of course, there's the Endless Battle as well for the Granger, which I'm looking at the Granger now with that 3 kills, the only member that's really ramping up from the side of Todak.
Yeah, but so far the gold is even. Like, both sides are, they're being very efficient with their moves. They're trading pretty evenly. Even though Sunspark does have a 3-kill lead, it doesn't mean that Todak hasn't been making moves across the map. The turtles that have added up, they've accumulated. Oh no, he's gonna be locked in here. Fuzikin waiting the full duration. He's not getting out. The Numenon Blast does come down. They get the first kill onto the Hylos, but the rest of the team is blown out. Revelation, he blocks out the entire Meteor Shower, protecting his team. They're gonna be locking E1 down. He flickers right on out of there. He doesn't want to get back in there. Fuzikin is in a little bit of trouble. Takes a little bit of damage from the Crescendo, but it's not going to be enough.
I'm loving how Fuzikin is setting the tempo for every single match.
E1!
Oh, he goes down for the mega kill, and he will fall into the hands of Kill right here. Kill VJ 404. That's no error, by the way, as we see this turtle definitely going to be snatched here by Sunspark.
Yeah, great play coming in from Sunspark, but E1, what you doing there, buddy? Like, you're already low. You gotta respect not Revelation, but you gotta respect KLVJ, because he is just absolutely killing it, and he is one of the leading mages on their side. So he's got a lot of gold on him. He needs to get that Athena Shield sooner rather than later.
Well, now, speaking of Athena Shield, of course, some of these members already have it, but look at Ninas here. They're getting clipped off once again as Fuzikin hits him on the wall with a Hurricane Dance. He was coming into the rescue as well, but look at the rest of the members of Todak. They're marching right into the jungle, and Ninas, the first one to fall alongside with the Granger as well. 2 down from the Malaysian side as we see KLVJ chasing over an X-Ray, and they will not let this one slide. JP goes in for the triple kill, and he's hunting for more. Can he go in for a Maniac? Of course, it's a little bit way too late to secure that, but Sunsparks now getting a huge lead after the team fight.
Yeah, let's look at the replay one more time, because as you can see, Moon was trying to get some damage and actually eliminate Rezio here in the back line, and a lot of that damage was wasted. For some reason, he took so little damage. He was able to kind of kite it out just enough to mitigate the amount from that Meteor Shower, which is really, really impressive.
Well, I gotta say, we're starting off the day here with a huge triple kill on JP. Well, make no mistakes at all. We're seeing Sunspark here, of course, one of the hot favorites from the Philippines, and now Felicia's setting one up against X-Ray all by himself as well. Phantom Seed has already been called, but there's no use calling out Barbell when you have 3 men flanking from the back. And what I love about Sunsparks is they are so efficient on those turn dive.
Yeah, they really, really are. They hold their abilities until they absolutely have to, and I think that was kind of on X-Ray for turning back into the fight when he could have run the opposite direction. But I think he knew he just had to buy a lot of time.
Yep, and definitely bought just enough time for themselves. And getting in us here, they're gonna go in for the catch, and the Panda will be taken down.
Finally, Fuzikin actually goes down, and Lord is going to be potentially in the hands of Todak. They might need to take the 50-50, and it looks pretty good because 2 members from the side of Sunspark is down. It's a 3v5.
Well, speaking of this TV5 here, that's going to be a huge wall charge over onto Kill VJ, but he's going to go right in towards the Order of Brilliance, flicker over the wall, and Rezio with the last insanity right in between the Vilma Vasa as well. Oh my goodness, they're turning it around, and Reflecia will be the next one to drop, and now that Chang is going to go on a killing spree, and Kill VJ's got to bow out on this one, and Todak now has absolute control on the Lord.
I mean, how is Kill still alive after everything that just happened? I mean, Todak, they should be able to secure this, but looking at this replay, like, E1 was right on top of him. Kill, at the very last second, was able to get that Harmony, as well as the brilliance, and he manages to survive, flickering over the wall when everything was looking so bleak. The Numenon Blast was a great effort, but again, look at that rejuvenation, perfectly put on top of the rest of the team members. He just, Hylos just powers through all that damage.
Yeah, and I really got to give credit to all these members of Toda because their position was so magnificent. All the frontliners were doing their duty, and none of these members of Sunsparks have managed to reach the back line in that sort of sense as they were pushed back into the jungle. And, well, for Kill VJ, he seems like he's pretty much untouchable for the time being.
Pretty much, and I think they need a little bit more time to kind of scale. Golden Staff already being purchased by JP. They kind of need to contest Lord at this point in time. I mean, Todak just won a really good fight, but a lot of their members are getting chunked out and are recalling as well. Ninas.
Wow, of course, for Ninas, he's definitely gonna be getting himself ready to get himself in towards the Lord Pit, which right now the Hylos is marching right into it. But look at Renzo here. He's already got that immortality. Same goes to Fuzakin, so they can dive in whenever they are ready. So Sunsparks here, they are calling the shots. They're trying to bait them with this Lord call, but the members of Codout, they're reacting and responding with a little bit of split by themselves. Look at the bot lane.
Yep, and Rezio, he doesn't have his full armor yet. This allows X-Ray to actually get some damage onto that turret. He might be, he should be able to take this. And yes, he pulls back away. Todak played that really well, using E1 as the living war, getting the information and playing around it.
Now, E1, of course, being the frontliner, like you said, and he's just going to buy enough time. And I just love how Todak just negate that pressure by just splitting up on towards two of these lanes. And, of course, Meteor Child being utilized here will just be shredding some a little bit of the help coming from Fuzaken, but both sides, they really know that if they were to commit, they want it to become a full swing of a win for either side.
Exactly, and I think Todak, they just have to keep playing this game. They just have to keep sitting out. Rezio getting chunked out. He doesn't get the last insanity, but the Firaga armor breaks. Chiku is like, nah, don't want to push any further. Don't want to force anything out just yet. We're waiting for Sunspark to make a mistake. And Todak is waiting with a shiv in hand, waiting for the killing blow. They get the initial kill. They punished him. Rezio is going to be going down. The immortality is popped, but he flickers on out of there. He survives.
How on earth did he survive that? He flickers off in time as well, and he was just by the edge. It almost clipped him, but Todak, they were doubling down on the bottom side. They still get the tower instead.
Yeah, I mean, Todak is playing this macroly so well. Sunspark is in a position where they can't force anything unless they have position, and Todak, they understand that. They see as long as Fuzaken doesn't get a good Hurricane dance and Rezio is chunked out, they can play the map, and they're doing a really good job at playing the map.
I certainly must say that they are so great in that macro play, and I can't help but to agree with every word you say. Now, Fuzaken already at the forefront, trying to deal with E1, but you know, tanks versus tanks, not really the ideal situation. Felicia also waiting on the back as well. Lolita could possibly channel a great Numenon Blast if that ever comes right in towards the lower pit once again. Now, look at JP though.
I mean, JP is going to get chunked down, but I think E1 should be okay here. I don't think JP is, you know, absolutely unstoppable just yet. Chang'e is right behind her, so they don't have to worry. But, you know, on the bottom side of the map, they're, like, trying to make sure they keep control over the waves. And as long as Todak keep playing this rotational game, I think they might be able to get out of this. Nanas takes a little bit of damage, but he's not the priority target.
Yeah, and speaking of which, you can see gold has already been evened up by the side of Todak. And there was not really that sort of a gap in between, other than the mid-game itself. Now, look at Chiku as well as these members of Todak. They are on the back front, and Fuzaken trying to run for his life. Renzo going for the last inside of the pops the L right in front of the members of Todak, and once again, they get caught out, and Xborg will be the first one to fall. X-Ray going on the hunt. That's going to nail them to the wall, and JP gets himself safe, but he was trying to hold them all the back, and now it's time for the Lord, and Chico's already taking it down.
Yeah, they called them off. Todak is just like, retreat, boys. We don't need to keep on going for it. Let's look at that replay one more time. And honestly, I have to commend Fuzikin there. That was almost an insanely good play if he was able to get that Hurricane Dance just a little bit earlier, but they just did not let him. The Purifies were there and they were ready, and this is when the mistake happens because Sunspark is fighting in the playground, in the battlefield of Todak, where they are stuck in one line. The moment they are in one line, not a lot of broad corners to kind of dodge away from the ultimate from Moon. They are just in a straight firing line.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing that they really got to watch out for. And none of these members from the side of Sunsparks have been able to reach anywhere close to Moon either. So fighting inside the jungle, definitely not the ideal situation for Sunsparks. But look at them go. They're going to go in for another catch, and they might just be able to get that kill over on the Nunes. But here comes X-Ray now. X-Ray as well, being chunked down low.
Oh my God.
No, there comes the last, and double kill headed towards the side of JP as well. And SSAs, that's enough for a day, as they have to stop the Lord from marching towards the bottom side, which means Toda is trying to clear up mid lane and open things up by taking out a tower, but there's not enough time for them to even get anywhere close.
Felicia single-handedly won Sunspark that fight and netted them, stopped that Lord push, all because he put up his shield at the right time. That Guardian's Bulwark, just so good, blocks the entire crescendo, blocks the entire meteor shower, no damage from the backline. He just took it like a champ.
Oh, yes indeed. And look at Todak here, of course. Now they're having that goal swinging in their favor, of course. By this moment here, 7 minutes of play, they should be able to complete those items. And look at X-Ray. He's really not that sort of a player that's all about that KDA. Although he's 0 and 5, he's still having quite a little bit of that impact where he's in charge of pulling members of Sunsparks all across, just distracting them, trying to bait and switch, trying to secure all that sort of macro play that they've been pulling off for the entirety of this matchup.
Oh, Rezio's in trouble. Last Saturday over the wall, trying to hop on over into safety, but he might be in trouble because Chiku is not going to let him get away. The crescendo comes through, but Rezio's one hit away. The immortality is popped. Glorious Pathway is put down. They might need to use the rejuvenation. E1 is taking a lot of damage, but again, rejuvenation is put already down, but Fuzuki is not going to let them play the game. Flicker coming in from E1, well played, but he still goes down. The passive from Carry takes him at the very end. Ooh, golden staff, beautiful item.
Look at how chaotic that sort of team fight was, and it's only one casualty. And they are playing with such clinical finishes that they are not trying to make any sort of mistakes at all. But E1, of course, was soaking most of that chunk of damage, and we all know E1 as one of the best tanks hailing from Malaysia. And now he's already 0-3-5, but every single time he goes in, he wants to make sure that he gets one sort of takedown. But now we're seeing Sunsparks here trying to open up the mid lane, and Lurfisa at the front line defense. There's still that immortality, so there's no reason for Todak to actually expend their utilities on that Mlbb.
Exactly, and I think this is already just a great matchup. I think Sunspark honestly should have been the favorites coming in, especially against Todak here, because again, we haven't seen Todak go out of their, their comfort zone into the international scene, and I think they're doing a great job against Sunspark, who honestly have been playing a really tough game and a really tough composition that requires a lot of mechanical skills. So a lot of commendation going over to Sunspark, especially Fuzuki. It's really dependent on their tanks right now. Like, Sunspark is solely dependent on their tanks to set up the fight.
And not only the tanks, the carries have to do their duty. Well, of course, speaking of carry, we're seeing JP here with 7 kills already. And for Kill, he's been performing since the start of the game. So these are the two guys they really have to catch out.
Yeah, that is so true. Oh, that's not actually being popped too. Oh, they get the catch! Immortality being popped on the push again. He can use the 1000-pounder. He's gonna be safe, but they finally break that immortality. They have to wait for their cooldowns, hold their ground, clear the waves, and maybe look for a fight. But again, Sunspark, they know, they're like, all right, let's pull back a little bit, take our time with this. They don't have our ultimates. Maybe we can set up a fight. Revelation in trouble. Rezio already with a flame strike. He's already popped up to get some momentum to move backwards. Chico is taking quite a bit of damage, but they're not going to push through. Meteor Shower using to clear the waves. Kale taking a little bit of damage, but it's not going to be enough. Numenon Blast, is he going to flicker? Yes, he does. He gets the catch onto the initial target. High is going to go down. Rejuvenate is already there. The Guardian's Bulwark has been pumped up, but it's not going to be enough.
Well, definitely not going to be having all too much of a business here from Todak, as they've already lost out Dinas. And now Sunsparks calling out the Lord, and this is going to be the second Lord of the game. And can wouldn't there be any reaction at all from Total. They're opting for a split push. They're marching down to the top side as well as the mid lane, and they say, you can have the Lord all you want, but I'm going to take down your base. But the side of Sunsparks here, they got to either recall or find a way to fight back. Total now did not have enough time to get anywhere close to that tower. Rezio though, getting a little damage, being chunked out, and that will be the Akai taking off the Granger, and now losing Chiku is definitely a big blow to Toda.
Yeah, I think dying now might have been a big mistake here, because now Chiku, one of the core members, has a 40-second plus death timer, and Lord, by the time he comes back to life, Lord is already knocking on that inhibitor.
Look at the graph. What does it tell you? The members of Sunsparks are turning things around by breaking the silence, taking down Lord, taking down one member off the side of Toda. With that sort of pick off here, they managed to set things up so perfectly. Phantom Steed has already been called out, but to no sort of opportunities for him to even react. Now, Malefic Raw on the hands of Chiku, definitely getting a little bit more burstiness, hitting in towards the hands of the Granger, but to the side of Sunspark, they're waiting for a mistake. They're waiting for a look to come right in. Fuzaken going in, pinning down two members off the wall, and that target death was so pivotal. No blast to stack upon it as well. Double kill for JP as they manage to crash right in. Now they're looking to secure game one in the hands of the Philippines, and Sunspark here are doing what they please, and they are going in for this finishing blow. And now Toda is on the back foot, and Sunsparks takes game one.
Oh my goodness, Fuzaken is actually insane. He is actually ridiculous. That was so nasty. Goes right in the middle, gets the Petrify off, and immediately pulls them in with the ultimate. Oh my goodness, well played Sunspark here. Todak, they've got to hold their ground. This might be, you know, a little bit of a sad defeat in their eyes, but this is a best of three. We might see it happen. They might try and turn this around, but Sunspark looking so good, playing a composition that requires so much positioning, so many conditions need to be met, but their tanks are absolutely ridiculous.
And they met every single expectation, and by far, that was one of the best Akais I've ever seen so far in the M1 World Championship. Let's have a look in towards the post stats as we see, of course, Fuzaken getting some high KDAs, but the All-Stars here kill VJ with a total of 5 kills, 11 assists, and the highest damage has been dealt by JP with 39% being chunked out to the entirety, and it's so hard to even take down members of Todak. You see how tanky they were. And yet again, Linas as well as X-Ray, they were rendered ineffective, and we were seeing Chiku as well as Moon. They were struggling. Moon, although he was not taken down a single time at all, there was nothing much that you can do when there's no more frontliners fielding on towards that battlefield. And now let's have a look into these early phase of the game. I saw a great dive coming from the side of Sunsparks.
Yeah, and especially in the early stages of the game, like JP was getting punished a lot of the time. A lot of the members were focusing the mid lane when they rotated, but not here. They were going in for Turtle, and that was the main objective. Like JP took quite a run of damage. He ended like the early game at 0-2, like 1-2 and 1 if I was correct. And he really took a beating here. And Todak, they just kept trying to punish him, but eventually they adapted really quick. They switched him over with Rezio. Rezio held his ground for a long period of time, and then he got a lot of support in the top side, allowing him to kind of catch up into the game. And the moment he got his third item, he was ready to pop off.
Oh yes, and he popped off so hard, and there were so many of all these sort of opportunities that he took without even thinking twice, and they managed to actually secure that sort of lead. Now, look at the side of Sunspark here. We'll look at how many times they actually dove over that Leomord, and this is that sort of win condition that we also mentioned way early on. You gotta stop the Leomord before he becomes that late game monster, and this is where things start to actually turn for the side of Sunsparks, as we see, of course, a full commitment. And this is where Todak, of course, won this sort of team fight by having great positioning from the side of Moon.
Yeah.
And look at Meteor Shower. Almost every single hit has connected, and of course, Reflecia will be the next one to fall in this sort of battle between the two.
Exactly, and I think, you know, looking at this game of rock, paper, scissors, like the entire game was dependent on Sunsparks being out of position. Like if Reflecia is even a little bit away from the team, it just gives a huge green light for Todak to be like, all right, the shield is out of the way, let's deal as much damage as we can, and maybe by the time that, you know, Reflecia tries to disengage the team with the Numenon Blast, it's a little too late. And we can see this time and time again, they caught them out. And then Sunspark is like, all right, we need to fight them on our turn. We need to make sure our formation is correct. And if we get those conditions down, we win fights. And as you can see, that Guardian's Bulwark just blocking everything.
Oh, yes, indeed. And not only that, we're also seeing a little bit of that overextension coming from Todak for a couple of times, which resulted into this. They were on lockdown here, and Fuzaken, time and time again, those Hurricane Dance were really the main factor of how the side of Sunsparks managing to actually take a couple of victories, and especially for this. This is that golden moment where the Lord came in time, and both of them are pinned over the wall, and Todak was rendered useless, and there was nothing that they could possibly do to actually defend this. They can't take down the Lord, but there was still all of these members left intact, and that's how they managed to take game one off of the side of Todak.
Yeah, and I think Sunspark, they were adapting along with the game, and that really shows a championship mentality. I can't believe these guys are only just the first runner-up in their own MPL, because they are playing like absolute beasts here.
I would definitely say that they are on fire, and this is just game one. We're not even down to game 2 yet, but of course that will happen in a couple more minutes. But let's talk about all this draft, because Todak definitely had a really tanky composition, but what's the problem here? Do they really lack of damage, or it was just down to that sort of execution? Because I saw a lot of all these sort of risky plays, like when Sunsparks attempted for that Lord, they did not challenge the Lord at all. Instead, they went for that split push. They tried to take 2 turrets at one go, and I felt like Sunsparks, of course, having a lot more of that experience to actually deal with that situation, they say, you can try as you will. And the moment that they were done, none of the towers were even touched at all.
Yeah, agreed. I think it really came down to just positioning and knowing, what are your win conditions at that point in time in game, and I think Sunspark did a much better job. And I will correct myself, I was thinking of Onyx PH, who is the first runner-up, and Sunspark's being the champion this time. They definitely deserve it here. Man, my brain somehow switched them over, I don't know why, and I'm going to get some angry DMs later.
Oh, yeah.
But for the most part, I think Sunspark played a good game. They adapted on the spot. The question is, can Todak adapt to this composition now that they're going to be on the blue side?
Now, heading in towards the blue side, we're going to see, of course, Todak getting one favorite pick. But I'm really optimistic about what Sunspark is possibly pulling out with their very first 2 picks here, because early on we see Todak pulling up that trump card, trying to ban off some of the things that they won't pick. And with that, they open up things like the Kaja, and they, even when with the Kaja being opened up, they didn't really need it to pick it. So that's what Sunspark has in that sort of a composition, where they were so confident. They say, okay, we can even play without some of these core meta heroes. And you would say that Kaja is definitely that sort of a strong factor with that Divine Judgment, but they definitely had a better composition working alongside with that Lolita pick. And of course, Carry as well as Lunox in this game 1 was perfect. The way that JP as well as Kiel played that, I would say that there's no better way that they could possibly perform even better than that.
I feel like I don't need to highlight them, only because like they're playing so consistent and they're doing such a good job that I don't really need to say too much. Like, it's so dependent on, like, even if you played it absolutely perfectly, they're playing exceptionally well. There's no need to highlight that. It's really based on the tanks being able to perform, to give them the space they need to do their work. They're like, bros, like, hey man, Revelation, you just need to block that meteor shower and I can go to town.
Oh yeah, they're just waiting for Fuzaken to actually start things off as well.
Please, like, just give Fuzaken a Kai one more time so I can fail November.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. I won't judge your sort of kinks, but then again,
I like good plays a little too much. But yeah, coming into game 2, I think the big question here is, how do they want to kind of reshape their composition? Because I honestly feel like red side has quite a significant advantage, especially in the meta now, especially if you hold up a situational pick within your first 2 bans. Then you kind of open up like this huge plethora of heroes to go for the counter picks, and you open up so much more. If you're on blue side, I feel like you're so limited by just that one pick. You want to get that combination of 2 in the beginning.
Yeah, I do think that having the combination of 2 will definitely at least set what you really want to prepare for your opponents, or even set some things up like with those sort of bans where you are trying to force your opponents to actually follow the flow in that sort of sense to match up with that two picks. Where if you don't really match up with things like a fighter, if you actually pick a fighter as well as a mage, then maybe on the falling phase, you'll see a lot more of that options getting taken off the table. So, of course, that's out of the draft, but now we're, of course, taking a couple of moments here before we head in towards draft number 2. Now, Todak here, of course, under pressure. Can they perform? We've seen them in the grand finals, of course, as the first runner of MYSG. Now, challenging the champions of the Philippines. It proves to be quite a difficult challenge for them, but at one point,
the moment he notices, he has such a powerful glare at the camera. Look at that. Oh boy.
Oh,
but yes,
man.
as you were saying,
I'm pretty sure that if your son, I'm not too sure about the ladies. Of course, the ladies are just staring at the screen as well. So, of course, and he would stop me on my tracks right there. I was just saying that things were on a stalemate for a moment between two of them, and from the side of Sunsparks, they led the way. They actually break the silence in between, and even though they were on the back foot, they were losing a little bit more of those sort of structures, but yet again, they came back, and they came back swinging hard on the side of Todak as well. So, Todak here, of course, we're talking about a team from the MPL Malaysia qualifiers. This is the first time that they qualified to the MPL on their first run. And now, in the World Championship here, they're actually putting up a good front as well.
exactly, and I think this is going to be a huge a huge factor coming into Group C, because this is giving the benchmark level that you need to be to beat Sunspark coming into Group C, because they are the favorites to actually come up on top of the group anyway. So, you know, for Evlex and Geo as well, they're both going to be looking at this and be like, all right, so that's what we got to beat. That's the level that they're going to have to play to, and I'm excited to see whether or not they can kind of adapt based on the information at heart.
Comes to Saris again.
I'm telling you, he just knows when the camera is looking at him. He's just like, ooh.
Maybe he's just treating it like a mirror. I'm not too sure about how the cameraman feels about that in that sort of sense. I'm just really glad that they're having themselves a great time, as well as they're looking like they're in their comfort zones as well. You know, being away from home and to play out a long-running tournament like this is definitely no easy task. You really got to settle in. And of course, if you're halfway across the globe, like from North America, well, you're going to be having to deal with jet lag and all these sort of stuff that's a little bit unnecessary. But, of course, if you are the best in the world, you got to prove it.
You definitely have to prove it here. And right now, I think both of these teams, they're taking their times. The game hasn't started just yet. They might be going to draft a little bit sooner here. And I think they need that discussion. They need the time to think like, okay, what went wrong here? How do we correct this? How do we deal with these players? But man, just like chat, I'm feeling it now. It's like, where is the game?
Oh, yes, indeed. Well, of course, for Todak, I felt like they weren't really making too much of that major mistake that give them that sort of a loss in that sort of sense. I felt like it was down to decision making when it came down to the final few moments right there. And, of course, as we are anticipating game number 2 here. Now, let's talk about picks. What sort of heroes should be removed? Because I'm looking at Lunox here. I talked about that high win ratio before we even start off the game. And once again, we were proven to be pretty well correct. And Lunox, I'm thinking that Todak could also pick this one for themselves.
Yeah. They could pick it.
Or is there any other better mages on
I feel like no matter what, like mages on the table, they just need to be played right. No matter what it is, they all kind of fulfill that same role. They're not unique like Chang'e, where they kind of define how you take certain fights. Same thing as Gushing as well. I think it's like a Harith. You deal a lot of damage. You make sure you don't die. You have options as well. It's kind of like pick your poison. Do you want to have a Beretta this time, or you want to have a bigger gun? It really doesn't matter. They all do the same thing.
Oh, that's right. And if they can actually secure that kill with that one shot that they can get, then that's definitely well worth it. Now, heading in towards the draft here, we're seeing Kaja now. Again, it's taken off. Well, of course, first game, it was left out in the open, but Todak here says that they don't really want to get picked off like that. But one thing to factor in, will the Akai be taken away?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they might want to consider getting rid of these bigger playmakers overall. Like, they just want to make sure they don't have to deal with it. Unless
Your
Torak is ready
team
to...
is banned.
unless Torak has something in mind. Like, they tried to take triple purifies just now, just to make sure they don't get punished. Like, even Leomar was still struggling to get out of certain situations because they couldn't deal... Because he couldn't deal with the Akai, even with a purify, because they sent 3 members there. So, I don't really know.
Well, of course, it's something that we really gotta slowly ponder about. And now, heading in towards that sort of a second man, well, we talked about how it won't be ever seeing this sort of game 2 as well as game number 1. Now, Todak's turn to make a move. They've already gotten some great options being left out in the open. So there's still the Grok, which most likely they are trying to utilize as well. Now, will Sunsparks here
team
remove
is
the
banned.
export? I feel like they should.
They might consider, now that they're on red side, they might want to consider getting rid of the export, but they did get rid of the Esmeralda the last time, so I'm not too sure about that. They're kind of thinking on it. If they get rid of the export or the Esmeralda, it's both understandable, but you're giving it over to Todak, and I think they might not first pick the Esmeralda.
Your
You know what?
team
How about not getting the option?
Well, even better in that sort of sense. Now, X-Ray here, of course, it's both for choice. It's really about what they really want to prioritize here, whether it's the fighter, the tank, or even that sort of mage that we talked about as well. Now, we also missed out.
team is
Kufra being left out in the open now. So that's going to be getting themselves that sort of pick that every one of these teams have been looking out for, but that will mean that Sunspark will immediately,
Your team is
instantaneously,
picking.
without even thinking twice, locking Hylos as well as Export.
Yeah, overall, I think the Kufra is going to be a really big pick here. So far, it's been 100% pick ban overall. And we've seen Tonak play in the MPL. They are proficient with it. Right now, Sunspark have to ask the big question like, oh boy, looks like we're going to have to take Purify again.
Oh, yes, indeed. Well, Chodak, of course, maybe this is about time that they actually steal off that Akai as well, so perhaps that will be great. But now,
Valor.
we'll totally didn't see that valid pick coming in, and now it will be pulling off this sort of strats, and Moon
Kimi.
now opting for that Kimi. Now,
Your team
interesting
is
to note
picking.
that they're going for this sort of a draft. Well, of course, pretty good damage output overall, but I'm not really too keen on how they're going to be playing this
Your
Kimi out,
team
because
is banned.
they're pretty squishy for now. What they need is a solid tank, and they've already taken that Lolita in the hands of Sunsparks.
Yeah. I feel like Todak had to take the Valier so they don't give it over to Sunspark. But then again, Sunspark did have the option to pick it
Your
up
team
last game, and
is
they
banned.
decided not to. So I don't really know. I think this is kind of like in terms of just like preference, you pick your poison sort of thing. They ban out the carry very early on. It looks like, are they trying to set up for a Grok here? Not so sure, because they know for a fact that Sunspark aren't going to get it, but they could just ban out the Grok for them. They could just ban out the Grok for the second part of the ban phase. Ooh, Diggy this time.
Your team is
Diggy is definitely a game-changing support that they are thinking of removing, and now we're of course seeing a Gushin, which will dive right in to hunt down that Kimi as well as Valier. So, well, high mobility picks as well coming from the side of Sunspark. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far, and that sort of a ban over on the Kimi is definitely as a respect ban towards JP, because JP on that carry on that previous game was definitely a huge defining factor for their victory as well.
Yeah, I don't know about the Gushin here. I think the Gushin is kind of interesting. They could have gone for the Lunox again, and I think that might have been okay, but again, Valier is a problem, and they wanted to deal with it with the Gushin. Ooh, it's going to be the Masha as well as the Hellcurrent, a 1-3, potential 1-3-1 composition.
Wow, I'm definitely not expecting this at all, but we know Chiku to be pretty good at that Hellcurrent, so let's see how he will play this one out. From what I'm seeing right here, there's a lot of split pushing potential coming in from the side of Toad, but if they were to commit to that team fight, I'm not too sure. Is Masha enough to actually front the battle alongside with the Kufra, and how are they supposed to set it up? Because what I'm seeing here from the side of Sunspark is a lot more stable. Even if they were to actually lose a fight or two, they could still slowly wait for that late game to come back up online. And especially with this last pick for Claude, they are definitely going to commit in towards diving right in to secure those kills.
Yeah. Ooh. Locking in the Claw instead of the Ranger this time round, is that a smart choice? I think he should be able to do something here, unless the condition has to be if Valier goes down first, because if Claude decides to go in with the Blazing Duet, I think Valier is going to be able to push him away with no issues whatsoever. So I think like there's a couple of conditions that they have to play around just to make sure they have the most efficient amount of damage.
Yeah, I would say that eventually, if they solely get themselves into the mid game and if all the right conditions are met, if they could go in for like maybe a pickup or two, then maybe by then they would be able to get all these huge items out. But well, now I'm really torn apart here. I'm not too sure which side I favor most, but from Toda, it's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking at their chances in team fights, which I felt like the only thing that I really like is Helgert being brought in with the Dark Knight Falls. Sometimes with that sort of element, blinding the enemies, they will be, of course, having a little bit of a communication issue to know where exactly are the rest of the enemies in that sort of a scenario. But from what I'm seeing here, the Claw is going to be pretty much doing a whole lot of that dirty work in towards most of these team fights. Now, of course, let's get into it, the action as we see Game 2 between Todak versus Sunsparks.
Yeah, I think right now Todak is kind of in this position where the moment they hit level 4, they want to force out a lot more fights onto the side of Sunspark, because again, their level 4 isn't as strong as you would imagine, because look at it, Rezio, he's not going to deal as much damage with the Blazing Duet as he wants to. JP has the most amount of damage, and Kale is just going to be by himself for the most part. He's not really going to join the 5v5s as often as you would imagine, because Todak has some superior wave clear.
Well, I really like how they're really switching things up, and this is how flexible Sunspark members are, and they don't really mind of switching things up. And look at that, two mass has been purchased by the side of Lolita as well as Export. A little bit of that revitalized coming from E1 as well. So, of course, that's definitely one spell that's going to be pretty much game-changing in terms of team fight. But I'm not too sure. It's Kufra, not exactly that sort of a hero that likes to stay in one spot.
Yeah, and overall it's just there's too many factors that's running through my head. There's too many factors. Like it could easily go wrong, and I feel. Oh wait, here we go. We can already see that Moon is dealing good amount of damage to Revelation. He manages to get on out of the skedaddle. Chico's in trouble now. He gets hit by the sword spike. Oh, one more hit. Wasn't able to get that auto attack before the Shadow Blade saw him. Came back in. Fuskin is in trouble. The rejuvenation is not going to be enough. They trade 1 for 1.
Beautiful 1 for 1. One inside of the jungle and another on the bottom side of the lane as well. And wow, that was a little bit too close for comfort, as we saw Kill VJ almost dropping out as well. But Todak here, we're responding pretty well with this sort of rotation in towards the enemy's left side of the jungle was pretty much well effective. Now they're hunting out for another one, and they're trying to take down JP. E1 gonna go in. Oh, with the bouncing ball.
Oh, just well played, E1 and Nanas. Just well played. The bouncing ball just locks him down. He can't do anything.
Look at that.
He wants to get out of there, but it's just he's not allowed to because of the bouncing ball. It restrains his movement every time he uses a mobility skill. It just locks him in place. Well played.
Even if he uses that sort of ability to hop over the wall, the maximum charge was already pointed at him as well. So try as you can, but that was definitely going to be going in the hands of Todak anyways. And they managed to also secure the turtle at the same time after deleting him off. But wow, this is why a lot of all these teams don't want to even see Kufa being played. But look at Ivan now. He's trying to set things up, bouncing ball being utilized. And Renzio forced to use the flicker at such early stages. And here comes Fuzz again.
They're going all in. Oh, instantly get found. The Numenor Blast actually pulls them through. E1 is in trouble. He already has to use the Tyrant's Rage. They broke the turret, but they need something to kind of respond. But they don't have the damage. Masha in the back line. She needs to clear this up. She needs to clear this up as soon as possible. X-Ray is trying to run Renzio down. He needs to join the fight as the rest of the team is pulled back. Moon, he's trying his best. He's peeling backwards. Chemical refinement. JP, he's in trouble. X-Ray. He has to do it. He's trying to get one last one. JP, he goes down. He wasn't able to get the sword spike up, and Renzio makes it out of there. Todak come up on top. Oh, that was so close. It could have gone either way.
Oh, yes, indeed. And now let's have a little bit of flashback of what just happened. Starting off, we saw Refugio, of course, being focused down by Todak, but because of that overextension, they managed to punish him. But after all of that, X-Ray came just in the nick of time. But E1 still managing to actually go in for those really huge knockups, and Renzio had to actually fall back. And we saw Moon course, chunking so much damage. He can manage to take down the Halas, but JP, of course, stuck between this really awkward position. It's either they go into commit over Moon or try to deal with X-Ray, which of course, they will take that chance against the Kimmy.
Man, that was like a super risky 50-50 for both sides. Luckily, Todak did come up on top.
4 kills already for Moon out of this sort of skirmishes, and now look at Fuza again, already forcing out that Rox's pathway, and E1 already soaking out the damage, and instead, Fuzaken cannot commit. He's already pretty low, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far from both sides.
Yeah, I think Sunspark, now they're going to be playing from behind. Let's see how the champions of MPLBH actually play this out, because we've seen them get ahead, we've seen them go even, but we've seen game 1 as well. It just fluctuates. They could easily just kick back.
Oh yeah, and for the previous game we saw, of course, E1 as well as Moon, they were, I think Moon has been really consistent, but as for their frontliners, they were taking so much of that sort of hit, but well, look at that. He just marches right in, but there's no sort of backup coming from the rest of Toda, and now here comes X-Ray joining the table, flickering over the side of JP as well, arrival on time, but they're still trying to offer that kill. JP escapes, and here comes the last insanity, diving right at the back as the Luna secures the kill over the matchup, and here comes Dark Knight Bolt. Chiku takes down the export.
3 for 1 Sunspark with superior rotation. Like, wow. I wasn't expecting the cutoff after tier 1. They really dedicated their resources to make sure E1 as well as X-Ray go down.
Well, I definitely did not see X-Ray getting himself so prepared for this, and how they actually turned this one around was pretty well amazing, because Kill VJ, he went in for that commitment, and with Chiku flickering in towards this battle, that's definitely a 1 kill being secure, and Sparks right now trying to fight back in this sort of battle, and they are now only having about less than 2,000 of deficit, so it should be pretty much well enough for them to actually commit, and here comes E1, get clipped off!
Yep, he's going to be going down with no hitches whatsoever. Very good catch coming in from Sunspark. Again, superior rotations. First it was with the arrival, and this time E1 is definitely disrespecting the opponent. He has to be more careful. Great use of the glorious pathway, just to kind of speed your way up and slow down your opposition from escaping. But X-Ray, he's doing his job really nicely. Even though they gave away 2 kills over to Sunspark, he was able to net himself a turret.
Yeah, and he spots out Renzio right now, cutting across that river. And, I would say that E1 is just buying a little bit of time, but like you said, he's committing a couple of all these mistakes which should not happen at the global stages at all. Well, he's just overextending all by himself. There's no members of Todak to back him up for 2 times straight, and I felt like maybe he's just getting a little bit of that jitters, but now, with that sort of turtle being spawned up, there's not going to be enough time for the side of Todak to react, because this turtle is being secured by JP.
I think E1 is just he's trying to be the playmaker. He's trying too hard to make the play. He's not waiting for the opportunity. He wants to force it out. He wants to change the tide of the fight against Sunspark. Oh, wait a minute. Is he going to flicker for it? No, they all move away. They already using the maximum impact here, but on the top side, they're trying to steal away the gargoyle. This might be a big fight, Kale. He's trying to make it happen. The last insanity doesn't pop up as much as he wants to, but Fuzaken drops down. The glorious pathway as they pull on through. Chico, he can turn this around. He wants to pick up exploit. He gets the cushion instead. Fuzaken is trying to hold his ground. Pops the rejuvenation. Maximum impact doesn't hit, but he still goes down. 2 kills going over to the side of Todak here, and Export makes it out scot-free.
This is what I talked about when the Helga comes into play, that when the Dark Nightfall hits, they are all in a disarray. Kill VJ opening up to the last design as well, trying to clear the wave, and now one more turret being destroyed over the top side here, and with that being said, Toda have great control over each of these lanes, and within less than a minute, we're going to see the Lord coming into play.
I mean, this could turn again, because we know for a fact that Kill is using Arrival, so maybe they could force out a fight where it looks like it's going to be at bad. Use the Arrival to kind of even out the numbers, or maybe get a numbers advantage in the next upcoming fight.
Well, definitely we'll be able to actually put that to advantage, but now we're seeing great positioning coming from the side of Todak, just waiting patiently, hoping that members of Sunspark will be going in for a little bit of that phase check. But there are 2 occupied getting themselves over the top side. What is only going to be Fuzaken right here, and if he gets clipped out, there's still the Rush's pathway, and he could possibly run off. But with the 1 member taken out, then Sunspark will lose out the opportunity, and E1's going to set things up as well. He knows that he's right there. Bouncing ball just to stop him for a little while, but they cannot fully commit.
Yeah, and
Lord,
man, Ninas is just chunking people out. That's kind of the beauty of Valir here. And on kill, he's trying to make something happen. I'm not too sure what items X-Ray has as of right now, but I think he does have the corrosive scythe already. The question is, does he have Windtalker as well? I need to double check the items to make sure, because then that kind of gives him an opportunity. Oh,
Yeah.
he gets caught out. Chiku turns back in. Dark Knight falls. He manages to get the kill. Revelation is now in trouble. They manage to get a double for one. Moon goes down, but Chiku gets two.
There was no reason for them to cut by the corner of the river, and immediately gets punished. Chiku being so responsive after taking that double kill, he's going straight after the Lord. And now let's have another look at how Chiku sets this one out perfectly. And he could even do this without the help of the rest of the members of Toda.
Yeah, and I think that was just a really good job overall. It was a good attempt by Sunsparks, but Todak, I think they played that really, really well, and they kind of disrespected how far ahead Chiku is after those 4 kills. Because, man, he is gigantic.
Yeah, he can definitely hit back home to buy whatever sort of a brand new sports car if he wants. But now look at the items. He's already got BOD as well as Endless Battle, and there's still definitely more to come after this. Well, of course, the wings have been bought there by the export.
Oh,
and,
my goodness.
Wow, it's going to be Moon just trying to actually pull one shot out of the barrel that he has, and that's definitely one buff headed towards the way of Todak. Well,
Yeah.
Sunsparks have to play it really safely and possibly try to force a sort of a move coming from the side of Todak and punish them for it.
Yeah, and after after getting that initial push, they do get the tier 2. They're gonna let Lord die on top side. They're gonna keep on pushing. They're gonna let the wave push through on top side. They're gonna keep on going through. The question is, can they keep? Oh, here it goes. X-Ray's in trouble. Takes a lot of damage. Chiku is at 1 HP. Glorious Pathway is put. Numenon Blast actually locks down the backline. E1, he's holding his ground. He's already used the last insanity here. Nobody has died just yet. E1 is gonna sacrifice himself for the team. Masha runs to the top side of the map, trying to find some pressure.
Well, it's only down to Masha, Valier, as well as Kimmy to actually go out there to just slowly force things upon the side of Sunspark for the very least. Well, of course, not many other major objectives other than the towers are in the eyes of Todak, as we see the goal swinging in favor of the side of Todak the entirety of this whole matchup here. But, of course, JP looking to change things up. And like I said, that Gushing here, you may not fancy it for a couple of reasons here, but he definitely pulled off some pretty sick plays overall.
Yeah, he is finding some great catches onto Moon, and Moon so far, oh my goodness, Kyo is in trouble. Chiku tries to predict it, but doesn't find it, but Kyo, he knows he's got, drops the emote just before he goes out, and Chiku with a reply.
Oh my, well, at least they're having a little bit of fun time, but Chiku instead getting pinned down, Flicker being forced away, and now an eye for an eye. Look at him go and pop there. Fine, JP. Well, X-Ray says, okay, you can take my member, but I'm going to take your tower as well. Here comes Fuzukin as well as Renzio trying to commit to this, but you know, you cannot out-chase this Masha.
Yeah, she's not going to let herself die. She just walks away, 3 health bars still, and right now they're kind of waiting on Renzio to get all of his items. He buys his Athena shield to kind of protect himself against Nanas as well as Moon. Oh no, this is not looking like a good fight. Nanas bails out of there, but again, E1 in trouble, has to go down, but they actually get the arrival out of the export, and now this kind of opens up the map a little bit more for Masha to play the way she wants to.
That's right, and for Sunsparks here, they're just forcing this sort of a push heading towards the mid lane, and after that, they're going to camp out for the Lord as well, while of course, JP already forcing a push over the top side here. So they're definitely spoiled for choice. Now it's about to out X-Ray. But X-Ray is going to wait for the rest of the members to come right after. Of course, the Valley is going to be waiting at the back as well. While Rafflesia already getting that invade towards the lower side of the jungle.
Yeah, they're just holding their ground. I mean, so far it's looking good for Todak. I think this is their window. If they force out another fight, they might be able to win this. They just need to make sure that JP doesn't get into that backline and take out Moon or even Chiku at that point in time. Because, again, both Moon and Chiku are huge.
Well, Moon and Chiku right here. You saw Moon, of course, playing a perfect game in the previous round. It was almost perfect for this game itself, where we saw Moon, the last time that he got a kill, he was deathless as well. So now getting caught out a few times. Speaking of getting caught out right here, Renzio forced to open up that blazing duet. That maximum charge will not land, and Todak here is still trying to open things up over the top side. Well, there will be that immortality in the hands of Kill VJ after a couple of minutes here, heading into the mid game, and now E1 once again causing a little bit of flaw, but there is the Lord. They cannot afford to lose any members at all.
Yeah, it really is going to be too difficult. Chiku here is just holding his ground. Lord is back up, and now both Sunspark and Todak, they want to contest this.
Well, we're seeing them not really moving all too much of a muscle for the time being, but Masha doing Masha things, just waiting things out and hoping that they will fully commit to a fight, and the Masha will slowly break in towards the top side, and they're sending that export in towards the top, and maybe this is where Todak will try to respond as well, because they know it will be a 5v4.
Great use of the maximum impact there. He doesn't want to walk up and use his range. Instead, oh wait, he's gonna, wait a minute. Is he gonna make it out? Can Chiku make it out? Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yes, he makes it just in time, having to use his ultimate to escape, but this gives the green light for Sunspark to take it out. Export on the top side of the map, getting chunked out, but again, bottom side, they're gonna lose Lord for this. Can they steal it away? Chiku, he's here. He won.
Goes in for the steal. How is this even possible? Coming from the Kuna, and he also takes out the Gushin as well. They're turning things around, and there's Tamasha pushing to the top wave as well. And in the blink of an eye, Todak stats that one away. Now down to Rufus as well as Renzio. Renzio doing some stuff in rail. And for the side of Sunspark, they're hanging on the tread. They're trying to defend the tower, and they will have to lose out Rufus right here.
Oh my goodness, that was such a huge steal, Renzio. He tries to go away. Maximum impact does pick him up, and now Moon, he's just gonna sit right in front of Revelatia's face. He's not gonna let him go without a fight. Revelatia playing this well, using the chuck, but he goes down to the very end. They have already broken mid inhibitor. They want to break that one top side, and Kiel, even though he used the arrival to protect himself, this is not looking good for Sunspark. That one steal might have cost them the game. They're going for it. Todak wants to end this.
Todak here will push it into the game tree. They're crashing in the base, and the Lord is heading in, and they will push and force this game upon Sunsparks here, who could not defend at all.
Oh my goodness. After E1, he was struggling to perform. He was trying to make things happen. He finally did. He finally decided to be patient, waited for his opportunity, and stole away a game-changing, game-winning Lord.
Yeah, and of course we were pretty harsh on him on the early stages of the game, where he was actually committing mistakes after mistakes, but he definitely redeemed himself in the late phase, going in with the drive fire as he hops upon, stealing it with only very little health. I thought that there will be the retribution to secure it, but of course Sunspark lost that sort of matchup in a blink of that sort of moment, and now the MVP, you really gotta give it to Chiku, because Chiku was in that sort of game-changing fight. There was also that triple kill as well as the double.
Yes.
And we saw how they were actually rotating across the map so efficiently. And Sunsparks, this time around, they really got to bow out. And JP, though he did a lot this game, it was not really enough, because he can only focus one target at a time.
Yeah, he trades one for one almost every single time he goes into the fight, and always finds a priority target, or at the very least chunks out everybody enough to kind of allow his team to play with more space. But overall, this has just been an absolutely insane series here at the M1 Group C. Started off with a really good game.
Oh yeah, and I'm really glad that we actually woke up really early to the studios for this. And look at E1 here. Of course, he's slowly tanking things out, and he's setting the tempo for X-Ray to come by. Of course, X-Ray flickers in, finish off the kill, and Fuza Ken alongside with Renzio. They're going for that chase, but Moon was way too powerful in that sort of early phase. And look at Renzio, of course, he's level 4. What can he possibly do? And even so, he did manage to escape with that flicker coming up online, and for the side of JP, he's just taking all the chances that he can get.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been an absolutely insane series. Like, I don't know how both teams could have played it. It really came down to that one big play towards the end. They were going pretty even, and Todak did have a pretty decent lead, honestly. And I think even if Sunspark was able to get the Lord there, I think Todak had a really good response. They killed X. They tried to deny Exploit on the top side. They broke mid inhibitor anyways.
Oh yeah.
And then at that point, it's like, okay, your Lord doesn't matter as much as it used to.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't really all too much of a concern. But wow, we saw Sunsparks also making a couple of rash decisions. And one great example was right here, where they were definitely torn apart and they were slowly segregated from one another. And that's how Todak managed to punish them. And in this sort of matchup here, look at Chiku. He went in for that mega kill, and they didn't even need the help of E1 to secure this double upon the Lolita.
Yeah, and what's really disappointing to see at the very is Fuzigen being played into a very linear hero. Like, he's doing the job, but he is a playmaker. Like, at heart, you can definitely see him wanting to do more with the high loss, but the high loss can only do one or two things. He drops down the all, runs at people, absorbs damage. He's not a playmaking hero. He needs that playmaking capability because I think that's where he shines the most.
Yeah, I certainly agree. It's so different as compared to the Akai. Yes, we saw him taking a lot of that damage, but we need him to actually force members to move about. And look at Renzio right here. And after that sort of steal, they don't really know how to even respond to that. Like, he flickers back and he changed his direction and focused back towards the side of E1. Well, of course, they're trying to actually bring the fight towards Toda, hoping that they do not march in towards the mid lane as well. But it was all said and done when the Lord marches in towards the crystal, and that was definitely that finishing blow. And Todak definitely well deserving of this win.
Yeah, crushed it, absolutely crushed it. But I think Sunspark, they put a very good fight here, and they really pushed Todak to the very limit until the very end. So, again, this is going to be a really exciting game 3.
Oh, yes, indeed. And now, it's still a 50-50. Like, we saw, of course, the first game itself, there was like a yo-yo where we saw the goal swinging up and down, red side, blue side. But this time, game 2, Todak pretty much took it really convincingly, and on that sort of a goal, it was always on their favor most of the time. And there was only a couple of those pick-offs every now and then. Of course, E1 committing a couple of all these sort of blunders, and a lot of great movements coming from the side of JP. So maybe that sort of switcheroo was not really advisable in that sort of sense, because I definitely preferred seeing JP back on that marksman. Not to say that he's worse on the mages. It's more...
okay, I'm going to give him credit, because he is a flexible guy.
Very flexible guy.
Very flexible, and he played that well. Like, honestly, Rizzo did a pretty good job. JP did a really, really good job. The only problem is that they didn't exactly have a lot of playmaking capability. When you have something like a Lolita and a high loss, you're pretty much like one-dimensional.
Oh, yeah, and we definitely talk about how one-dimensional that pick is, but it's that sort of tankiness that they sort of needed in those team fights. But it's really how they actually play out the team fight as well, which was a little bit chaotic. Of course, when you turn off the lights with the Helker coming into play, it's causing them a lot of that sort of trouble to actually get things around. Now, heading in towards this final game of the best of 3 here, we're seeing the Harif not even getting a single game off the series, and Kufra, of course, they're not going to be actually opening things up for the side of Sunspark to actually go in with that sort of pick. So, Sunspark cheer.
Esmeralda. Esmeralda.
Most likely. Most likely.
That, or they're just going to be like, you know what, Hellcrit was too much of a problem last game.
If I were to be in the seats of Sunspark, I would say the same to the captain, like, hey, should we do this?
No, I was making a joke about that one. No, do not actually ban out the Hellcrit. Hellcrit wasn't the biggest issue.
They'll get debated if they actually do. But But even if they actually negate that Hellcrit, at least they will have one less thing to worry about in that sort of sense. But the real problem right here was not really that sort of hero coming to effect, but it's actually a Hylos ban. Now,
they're changing it up.
Changed things a whole lot. Now, that means this is going to force Todak to actually ban out the export, or even the Kaja that we talked about.
Honestly, they can ban out the Esmeralda, give them the export, and then eventually go for a better pick for yourself, or you can hold it up and pick up export. The question is, how much do you prioritize export? They're just going to leave it all out on the table here. Esmeralda is up on the field, Grok is up on the field, there is no Kaja, and they will have the opportunity to pick up an Esmeralda this time round.
Now we're looking at the members of Sunsparks, of course. No more Death Stairs coming out of all these members, but they will instead go in for the Grok immediately. So, Todak, we've already talked about the export most likely coming into effect. So let's talk about the pairings right here. So if they're getting the export, what will be the next best pick? Because you talk about Esmeralda, they are locking in the carry.
They lock in the carry. They could go for the Esmeralda here if they wanted to, because I mean they've got the setup. I'm not gonna lie. Like, hey, what you thinking here, boys? Because you banned out the Kaja. You're definitely trying to set up for something. If not why didn't you ban out the Xborg? They're kind of using Xborg as a bargaining chip here. It's like, hey, do you want it? Like, if you want it, we can pick it up for you. Finally, someone decides to pick up the chill.
Oh, now this means that they're actually really confident to actually deal with the Xborg, so they're leaving it out in the open once again for the side of Sunsparks. And of course, we saw some of these members who are actually really flexible coming from the side of Sunsparks, and they will definitely pick it up alongside with Masha. So we're already seeing a lot of all these frontliners for the side of Sunspark. So heading into the second phase here, I'm looking at members of Tildak. What possibly would they be able to actually take away from this?
It's tough because right now, if Sunspark decides to go with the Xborg as well as the Masha, that means Xborg is going to go into the support position. They're gonna have some great wave clear, but again, it's about that playmaking capability, like we were talking about just now. I would like to see Fuzukin to play Akai one more time because he was doing an absolutely monstrous job. But again, stick to the meta, stick to the things that work.
Yeah, and well, Akai definitely wasn't one thing that worked, but they have different sort of plans heading in towards the last game of this first series of the day. And Todak now, having that Lunox being opened up, they're going to take it away from Kill VJ in that sort of sense. And of course, Todak themselves are also very familiar when it comes to playing the Lunox with great higher win ratios as well back in the MPL. Now, heading in towards the second phase, I'm seeing a lot of that sort of the possibilities right here. Of course, early on, we see some Sparks banning out Diggies, so I think that should not be even factored in because Todak hardly goes in for that. But there was a couple of games that they did actually go for the pick, but Lolita is that sensible choice.
Todak needs to ban out. Oh.
Whoa, smart move.
I think the smarter move came from Sunspark because now they have options of both Kimmy as well. Like initially they were setting up for both Kimmy and Chang'e, and now they basically get Kimmy for free at this point in time. Because you can see Todak, if they pick Kimmy now, it's gonna mess up their team composition so much.
Well, I don't think that it will possibly be too much of that thing to factor in, because if you open up the Chang'e as well, it's going to be pretty much a really hard game to play because you've already got so many of these great frontliners. All you need is something that is pretty much well secured to actually protect yourselves, and usually Chang'e could actually cover that sort of distance without fully committing. Well, of course, you can say the same about a Kimmy right there, but I would definitely prefer a Chang'e to a Kimmy any sort of day at all. And Todak's secret strat, bringing in the Malaysian legendary hero Badang into the picture here. Of course, we've seen some great frisk crack being played out by some of the teams of Group A, Group B. Now, Group C, where they're definitely not missing out on this meta as well. Like you said, this will be the Kimmy as well as the Granger, falling in the hands of Sunsparks.
Yeah, I think they set this up absolutely perfectly. The way they played that pick match, really smart. The question is Xborg still going to be extremely viable in this sort of meta, especially as a support? Yes, we've seen teams do it before, but Baxia is going to be the pick of choice. That's interesting because at least 4 of their members buy healing items, so it makes sense that they want to kind of go for the backline and deny that healing.
Well, I would definitely say that Baxia was that sort of a surprise pick that they did not really see coming, but we've seen the Indonesians play all too well. And, well, heading in towards this very final game, definitely we're favoring the side of Sunsparks composition on how they actually drafted this. And, well, I gotta say, Todak here definitely having the guts to actually leave out so many things out in the open and gave it for free towards the enemies in that sort of sense, which means that this is something that they might have just planned out, which they don't really want to, like, hey, oh, great picks, great meta, and like, why not we just give them and try to counter it in a different way.
Agreed. I think what was interesting was the Cho pick. They were flexing it for the longest time, and then they finally brought out the Badang, and then it became clear, okay, now Cho is going to go into the tank position. I think it's pretty interesting because, again, in the matchup itself, you have to deal with this Xborg, and though you have the mobility and rotational prowess, it's going to be a tough matchup still if you put him into the fighter. So it's smart that they picked the Badang. The question is, can they force out a big team fight? Because Masha is always going to be split pushing, and we know for a fact that the Philippines, they were the ones who decided, split pushing is the way to play the game, and they evolved from then on out.
That's right, and now we're heading into this very final game, and wow, how would this be even possible? And, well, we talk about that Badang coming into play here, and the possibility of him getting even close to kill VJ is going to be pretty tough to even begin with. So how could they actually play this one? Renzio slowly getting themselves that sort of a proxy towards the side of the bottom side, and now, of course, Sunspark trying to actually focus their sort of forces in towards the top lane as well.
Yeah, and I think Badang is going to be, again, we saw X-Ray on the leaderboard the last time. Badang this time is probably going to be the point of contention for the side of Sunspark as well. But it looks like they want to play around their top side a little bit more to have that numbers advantage and, you know, kind of steal away the smaller camps instead of the buffs.
Yeah, like, I would say that they just take anything that they could possibly get for the time being. And now, a little bit of challenge over the top side here. Fuzaken trying to actually steal that one. Oh,
He stole it. He stole it. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that has got to suck so bad. Now they're under a lot of pressure. Caleb is already level 4. He's going to pressure Chiku out of it. No, this lane is looking so bad already.
Oh no, Chiku is the first one to fall, as we see. First one given away to the side of Sunspark, but here comes E1 on that box tail, but there is no business for him at all.
This is interesting because we know for a fact, I'm surprised that Moon didn't decide to go up top side. Instead, he kind of chilled up. If you look at the minimap, he went bottom side to take the river crab instead of helping the top side and kind of rotating with his team. And I think that in itself, just like such a small thing of being late to a rotation, cost them so many members.
Oh, definitely it was really costly, and we're looking at that sort of a buff loss was already a huge blow to members of Dota, and now having to actually hug by the corners of the turret, and with all 4 members crashing in, well, Sunsparks now having that really great 1k of the difference heading through this game is going to be pretty much well securing themselves this turtle if they were to force out members of Todak.
Yeah, and right now Todak is playing a great game so far, but you know, small micro mistakes have cost them a little bit, but I think they should be able to come back. They were able to play from behind last time. I think it shouldn't be too difficult to slowly come back into this. Turtle is going to be going over to Sunspark. Again, they got to keep abusing their advantage, make sure Todak don't have an opportunity to come back.
Yeah, and I really love how Renzio is playing this match as well. From even the previous game, I think that Renzio has been pretty much phenomenal in all these games. And for the side of Fuzaken, of course, now he's playing a Grok, which means that he really got to set the tempo straight for them. And now already taking a little bit of that chunk of the breaks off of that sort of mid lane tower is going to be pretty effective. And kill VJ. Did he just steal another buff?
Yeah, they are just denying everything from Todak. It's only 3 minutes of the game, and they've developed at least a 3k goal lead. Chico forcing half the flicker here. Denas might be able to get a catch. He does actually go for it. Way of the Dragon onto an opposite target. JP was able to get out of the way. Detsunata is coming through. They don't get any picks whatsoever. Sunspark has just turned it up another notch. They're not letting Todak get any advantages across the map.
That's a little bit of missed opportunities, but they're trying for the second time coming, and Replicia is still holding on. And here goes Moon with a flicker as well. This will be a little bit of a goner, and wow, flicker of course being popped, but JP right here will be, of course, just watching things slowly crumbling downwards. But here comes Fuzaken as well, giving some support. Whoa, that's a big blow, and there goes mega kill for the Granger.
Woo, they are getting super far ahead. JP is gigantic. 4 kills under his belt. I think Sunspark is just tired. They haven't even showed their true form just yet.
I told you about JP on those marksmen, and wow, already 4 kills, and this might just be the 5th one coming in, and wow, unstoppable by the way.
Yeah, and Todak is just feeding them the kills at this point. Sunspark is just gobbling them all up. They'll take all the protein that Todak gives.
Well, I'm not too sure about protein, and they're looking like vegetarians right now. Like they're really being starved out of all these sort of things that they could possibly get from the jungle, and we can evidently see Sunspark here, when they show aggression, they want to make sure Todak gets nothing in return.
All I can think of is the anime glasses. You haven't even seen my final form. Glasses, got mirror glass sheen, scoops across his eyewear. Oh, Rezio in trouble now. He's taking quite a bit of damage. He's going to be going down. Finally, a pick up for Todak here, but what are they going to lose?
Well, maybe the pair of glasses in that sort of sense.
Oh, my glasses.
Well, of course, you can actually change it up to actually see their power meters in that sort of sense. But look at that go. One more tower down, and Sunsparks immediately opening up the map, and I'm not even sure if I'm really seeing this correctly. 5,000 in difference against Todak here.
Yeah.
Of course, we saw that sort of aggression coming from Todak for the past 2 games, and now they seem a little too silent for my liking. And of course, Todak getting this only sort of buff that they could possibly get on the Sun Moon, as they are still pretty much, well, not really getting so much of that great levels on their side.
Agreed. Yeah, they're really being starved out. Again, he's just gonna walk in. He doesn't really care. He's so far ahead of the game that it's just like, you know what? Power Nature, walk in, walk out. Cool, their team is there. Let's bail out. Let's go for a different lane. And overall, Sunspark, they've got a huge lead. And we saw Todak. They only had a 5K goal lead, and that won them the game already. Sunspark now have at least a 6K goal lead. Let's see how hard they want to stop this game.
Well, they can just slowly trail out the red carpets, and Rezio will be rendered down. And wow, here comes Todak trying to actually do hard ways, but wow, that wall charge hits it too, stops it on the tracks, and the rest of Sunsparks are coming into the picture as well. And JP now tries to actually take one member off Moon, flickering backwards. That's not the direction that you should even be considering.
Yeah, but again, Todak is trying to play across the map here. 7K goal lead for Sunsparks. This is looking so good for them. Let's look at the replay one more time, because Fuziken, he knew he was in the bush. He's like, all right, I gotta make sure they don't go back. This is 3 kills for my team.
And he already predicted it. He knows that they'll be there, and it just landed perfectly onto 2. Speaking of Fuziken, he's in trouble right now. He wants to be right in the middle, and X-Ray goes in as Kill VJ, forced to flicker away, and whoopsie.
You know what? I can respect that from Todak. They were close, but not close enough. Like, that lead was able to keep Sunspark alive for the most part. Had they not... Nana doesn't get it. Wrong direction, and JP was able to get a free kill off of that. Good attempt, though.
You could see that things are slowly breaking out, and, well, things are definitely looking a little bit more bleak for the side of Todak as well, and they are on a different sort of page coming from different members. Like, you saw one after another, they tried to actually dive into the fight. And, well, I can't really say too much about what Nunas tried to attempt right there. And he was already low to begin with. And there's nothing that they can actually do against Sunspark, even if this child decides to head right in. Like, what? Are you going to kick up Masha or something?
I really don't know what to say, because like, you are looking for those angles, and when you are playing Cho, you just have to look for these opportunities, even if it might cost you your life. At least trading 1-for-1 in this position for a priority target is worth it.
Oh yeah, and look at Fuziken though. He's so confident in his approach. He's just slowly showing all sort of the emos that he has. And of course, we saw a lot of all these great King of Fighters skins as well. If they were to be playing Chao, of course, Nunas, a 0-3-1 right now. Not really the best of the stats, as we see Chao slowly falling off the radar here. And Nunas will be heading for a kick. Like I mentioned, there's no point even dealing with the frontliners here, and Fuziken is just fucking him at this time of fun.
Yeah, Destinata even popped as well. Moon is chunked to half. He should be able to heal with no problem whatsoever. But again, Sunspark is so far ahead. 9K already. They have starved out Todak. They are just that anorexic kid in the corner, just looking for anything for themselves to try and get fat.
Well, I'm not sure, like, if you have anorexia, you're going to take a long time to even get there to start off with, unless if they do another miraculous stunt to take down this lord, but no miracles will be happening so far.
I mean, you gotta play with the mindset of Nunas. He's trying to make that play thinking he's fat, even though he really isn't. But now X-Ray is trying to pull out of the way. Brilliance is already pulled out, but they don't want him to go. Flicker comes out. They're gonna sacrifice. No members lost just now, but Masha on the back line kills Chico solo by himself.
Oh, Renzio, of course, soaking a little bit too much, but he's still well and alive. Monster kill for JP, and how on earth will Todak will be able to even get close to the Granger? Here comes the Lord as well, trying to open things up. E1 immediately melted down like butter. Godlike going in for JP as they crush out the mid lane as well. Here comes the Nuts going on the back. What can they do? That will be one more kill going in for the Kimmy, and now only down to Actually as they will take the series, and now Sunspark will be leading away 2-1.
Again, we haven't even seen their final form, and they decided all of a sudden it's like, playtime is over. We need this 2-1.
Yes, indeed, and they needed this so much, and they just here to prove themselves why they are the best hailing from the Philippines.
Yeah, and Todak here, Game 3 must be so devastating for them because, again, they never had an opportunity to really come back into the game. Chiku was getting targeted time and time again. The rest of the team couldn't get ahead, and I think, honestly, Sunspark, they played a strong game. Todak put a really good fight. If this went to a best of 5, I think we would have seen a completely different game.
Oh yeah, I'm really looking forward for those best of 5s, but for now, we gotta just settle for those best of 3s, and JP undoubtedly the MVP of the matchup. And well, let's talk about the rest of the team, because I like how Fuziken as well as Rafisa played out. Renzio, although he fall 2 times in this entirety of the match, he was actually pulling a lot of strings to actually make things work, taking out a lot of towers. And as for Nunas, I felt like, you know, the priority on that show was unnecessary.
Yeah, honestly, I would have liked to see a better showing of the show this time around, but you have to admit, Fuziken played a strong game, and when you have Kimmy Grok, your aggression, you just have to be hyper-aggressive. You have to make sure they can't even breathe. And I thought for a fact that X-Ray was going to get targeted. He was not the target. Sunspark is like, you know what? Forget about X-Ray. We're not going to let him play the game once we crush down Chiku as well as Nanas.
Yeah, and I feel like this is a sort of composition that Toda is not exactly all too familiar with, as we see them not really opting for this sort of a setup. But wow, that wall that was set up coming from the ground definitely secured them pretty much great advantages. And we talk about them getting starved out, and well, pickoffs, and pickoffs. Of course, Todak here trying to reply somewhere in the middle of the game, but this game-changing wall charge here definitely stopped Moon as well as E1. But E1, of course, still have a little bit of leeway right there, but unfortunately for Moon, of course, he had to bow out. But we're heading in towards that mid-game where we hit it towards 9-minute mark. When the Lord came up, there's just no stopping Sunsparks by then.
Yeah, it's just such a tough game to play at this point, and I think having Revelation, he did a good amount of work, especially with the true damage, making sure that, you know, he has that, you know, availability. He can kind of just tank pretty much all the camps with his passive as well. He has like an unseen presence in a lot of these games, and though he comes in with Last Insanity to kind of, you know, absorb as many abilities as possible, chunk out a number of people in the back line before he kind of bails out, and, you know, let's Grok kind of do the rest of the work for him. I think overall Sunspark just played a very clean game this time around.
Yeah, and this time, of course, not only clean, they were so decisive in every single thing that they were just forcing Todak to play on that turf, and every single terms and condition were met to actually get themselves that sort of lead. And it all started off by that jungle raid. That jungle raid was so nasty. Every single buff, as well as some of these camps, have been snatched away. And well, I don't know. They're just gotta be spamming a lot of all these feels bad for the side of Todak.
Agreed.
Well, I guess like there's still more to fight for, because we're still having a lot more of these matchups coming up. And now let's see what the winners have to say as Sunspark claims this victory 2-1.
Let's go throw it over to the interview.
Thank you so much, all the casters. There was a fantastic, intense match here between Sunspark going up against Todak. And here with me, I have Raflisha from Sunspark himself here. How are you feeling?
Feeling good, excited.
Excited here. Right after match here, you immediately taking 2-1 against Todak Esports. And my oh my, Todak has been one of the top contenders from the Malaysian region, especially you know, with that dominating performance in game number 1. Were you expecting that kind of gameplay in the first game itself?
Yeah, we expected them to be that strong. We just play with our best. That's why we came with a good start. Then the second game we lost. Then we boost ourselves again so we can end the game in 2-1.
All right. And I gotta ask this here, you know, it's your first time coming into its M1 World Championship. I gotta ask a little bit more of your teams here. Who's your youngest in your team?
KLBJ, 14 years old. He's our fighter, marksman, or mid lane. Yeah.
Wow, a multi-role at 4.
We always practice.
It's the approach coming in from the side of Sunspark.
Just yourself to get ready for this new series.
Fair enough. In this case as well, Evil Esports.
Up and the middle lane. Good move from Toda. Now it's going to be their turn to engage on the Lord Evil.
or
Yeah.
probably
Your team
mobility
is picking.
here, of course, with
Enough farm,
Yep.
and they can be ran over. To do, it gets a little difficult.
It's the same for the Helker as well, right? Like,
You know, they can just pick and choose their fights wherever. Advance.
Yep.
All right, and then the top one of each group will be in the upper bracket of the finals.
of the
Second
finals.
placer on the lower bracket, while the bottom two will be eliminated.
Yeah.
Now imagine, hear this.
What's up? What's up?
Sun Sparks, they are at 4 points,
points.
after their back-to-back 2-1
To
victories.
once. Yes.
Evil, however, after their 2 zeros, they're now at 6 points. This means they only need to secure one victory, one game
One game.
against Sun Sparks,
Yes.
and they are already at the top.
The team.
Upper bracket. You know
Yeah.
what? They have secured their playoffs for sure. But
Of course.
that's upper bracket that we're talking about. Sun Sparks, if they win one, they are gonna make it to the playoffs already. Lower bracket. If they get the 2-0, however, they will be the ones in the upper bracket. So Sun Sparks, really, they want
They
this
need this.
0.
They need this. For the people in the Philippines, if you support Sun Sparks, you need to raise your hands
Raise your
right
hands
now and give them your energy. Meanwhile, here
Your
comes
team is
Evil
banning.
Esports from Team
Turkey.
Turkey, pulling off an Estes lineup. Of course, it is quite popular
team
in
is
the
banning.
Philippines
Definitely.
as well. But again, man, what a day we're having right now. Huge games, to say at least. Here we go. That is the Chango.
Chango immediately banned by
Yes,
Sun Sparks.
of course.
We saw Team Evil Esports actually just pick this once, Chango. But, you know, statistically speaking, Sun Sparks, they have not been that successful against
Your
the
team
against
is
the
banned.
Chango.
Against Chango. Okay, now their second ban will be the Esmeralda. Meanwhile, Evil Esports is gonna ban out the Masha,
Masha, yeah.
here, eliminating the split push potential that Fuziken and the rest of the crew can do. 28 seconds left onto the banning phase. Look at this, Evil Esports really planning this out, taking their time on who to ban. Again, we've talked about this time and time again. For the side of Sun Sparks, they do have a very flexible draft in terms of the tanks, right? So I'm guessing that
Oh,
they're
Your team is picking.
they're putting an end to this early game split aggression that Sun Sparks can
Your team is
can
picking.
can offer, as they will now pick the Harriet.
it's the Harith to be the priority for Sun Sparks. I like that they're still keeping their confidence this
right,
time.
right. Look at this.
However, Evil Esports, they might go for the Kufra this time to go with the Hylos.
Yeah.
Or they might go for the Hylos first.
Whoa,
But
whoa.
this time it's the Granger. They
Whoa.
really have a different approach.
Yeah,
They did use... Actually, no, they have not. They have not.
they have not picked.
Kufra.
Very unorthodox
team
picks
is
here
picking.
coming in from the side of Evil Esports, but as you said,
It's the
as you
Grok,
predicted,
surely.
it is of course the Kufra and Granger. They immediately secured their late game here. Sun Sparks taking their time. They're
They might go
hovering at the Grok.
They might go for Thams to go
Yep.
with this Grok.
Okay.
I don't suggest them picking another tank.
Cho.
I like this, however.
Yeah.
Cho is good for Sun Sparks
Wow.
because this can act as their offlane,
Your
but it is
team
also
is
a deny
picking.
pick.
Yeah.
One of the most picked heroes today for Team
Team
Evil
Evil,
Esports
yeah.
is the Cho.
Yeah, of course, that is of course their favorite. Plus, it can act out as a flexible pick here for the side of Sun Spark. We still don't know. Probably they will choose to use this as their side laner or their support. It will at least it will still depend here for the side of Evil, but they will
Lunox.
go for their core. This is
Your
looking very
team is
scary
out.
now.
It's the
The Lunox and the Granger damage right here for the side of Team Evil. And
Your
as you
team
can
is
see,
banning.
they will eliminate that healing factor from the Estes.
Of course. The heal is coming out from this Estes support that probably is new to the people here
Whoa.
in
Your
the
team
global
is
scene. But
picking.
we know that in the Philippines, this is one of their
best
picks.
picks. And statistically speaking, Sunsparks, they win. They during their MPL run, they don't win when the Estes is available for the opponents.
Yeah.
This time they will ban it out. Maybe there's some bad blood between Sunsparks and this hero. Maybe it's just some
That's the reason
bad
why.
omen.
So the reason why they lost game 1 and game 2 against
Your
Onyx.
team
But
is picking.
Evil Esports, man, lots of firepower here coming in from their composition. You have the Leomord crits, the magic percent magic damage from Lunox, and the crits again from the Granger. So what they need right now is, of course, their last support. But as we've said, this Joe is either
Your team is
is
picking.
either a side laner or a support. We still don't know if it's going to be the Xborg support or the Cho support.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
But we do know that JP is really good in using this Claude.
Blood, for sure. Now, Evil Esports, they can consider getting the Lolita or maybe an Akai this time against the Sunsparks. It is really good against the Harith.
Yeah.
And this could be their additional, initiator or crowd controller for
I like-
Evil Esports.
I'm like what I'm seeing.
It's indeed the Lolita. We did mention it's either the Lolita
Or
or
the Akai.
the Akai this time. Now it's gonna be a support Cho
Yeah.
and a core export for Renzio with Coach Leather Goods bidding goodbye to the
Patting their
team. It's
backs,
gonna be up to Sunsparks on how they can execute this time.
I like what I'm seeing. I do feel that we're going to have that this game is gonna be a bloodbath
It is.
due to the draft. I love the Lolita pick.
Yeah.
I'm non-biased actually, but I do like the lineup of Evil Esports. They're keeping it basic,
Yeah, they keep
basic core heroes and basic supports.
Yeah.
Nothing special,
I
right?
really love the last pick
Simple.
Lolita because it
Yeah.
actually answers a lot. Like for example, the Claude, even when the Blazing Duet is up, you can just put up the Bulwark
Bulwark
and there's
shield,
just the
yeah.
stun. You know what? When you pick the Harith, you want to take control of a certain area, and that's where a Lolita shines.
Yep.
When you don't, when you can be surprised on how much Lolita can have in terms of the in-game factor
Yeah.
when he is in play.
Yeah, conquering territories is the name of the game here for game number 1. Evil Esports, 1 win away to secure that upper bracket slot here.
Exactly.
Very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, for you guys to catch every battle, stream like Cray, get unlimited data for all apps with Giller Unlimited GX30 only with you mobile. Here we go. We're just waiting out for the game. Sunsparks, they look pretty nervous here, but look at the eyes of KLBJ.
Yeah.
Just very relaxed. Let's see, man.
Yeah, again, we're gonna go back to what we were talking about earlier. Team Sunsparks, they need to secure a 2-0
A
to
2-0
get to the
right
upper
now.
bracket
Yeah.
because again they will get up to 7 points
Yeah.
compared to Evil with just
This is
6
it.
points.
This is it.
If they lose one game, they automatically will not be able to make it to the upper bracket. But if they lose both of their series, there could be a chance for either Axis or Geo to get their slot instead. So Sunsparks, what they need to do is at least get 1 win against Evil.
All right, let's see if that could
5
happen.
seconds till the enemy
5
reaches
seconds
the
till the
battlefield.
enemy reaches the
Smash them.
battlefield. Let's go into game
All
number
troops
1.
deployed.
Renjo will be using the X-Borg, Fuziken as a Grok, JP as the Claude, the Reflesha as of the Cho, and Kiao BJ as the Sarah.
Evil Esports now playing in the red side. It's Katzing on this Granger. It's Luca on the Kufra. It's Mocker on this Lunox. It's Ash on this Joe, and Itachi from Konoha.
Oh my,
playing the
oh
Lolita
my,
this
oh
time.
my, here we go. Oh
Of
my,
course.
from the Akatsuki clan.
Well,
coming here in Malaysia. Let's go. JP and Rablesha will just go for that early Crimson Lizard and will definitely get this Crammer. But Ash from Pallet Town, man.
From Pallet Town have to back down. This time against the members of Sunsparks. You have to take note this show and this Claude.
Okay,
Oh, very
okay.
nice.
Nice bait coming in
bait.
from JP.
Using the momentum.
Yep, using the momentum just to lash it and get that Crammer. As we can see, 46 seconds left for the turtle to spawn here in the bottom lane. We are now seeing the Kufra and the Lunox in the bottom side of the, retaining the bottom side of the map.
Oh, Zaman
Probably
Force.
wants to get the buff, but meanwhile, we're seeing the
push.
camera, a quick push coming in
Definitely.
from Sunsparks.
Because of the chrono dashes, it will be enough to take a turret. Now
Yep.
it's just 1 minute and 36 seconds. We
Yeah.
know that this Harith does have a lot of objective taking potential because of the chrono dash and the Zaman Force.
Yes, of course, and they do know that the turtle will spawn here in the bottom lane. That's why Sunspark immediately went for the push. That is 477 crit damage in the early stages of the game, coming in from the dead zone at a warning shot, to say at least. 2 minutes in, here comes KLBJ.
KLBJ, Zaman Force gonna be committed, but the flicker away, coming out from Evil Esports.
Here we
As
go.
now they disengage.
Here we go.
The dodge on the tire stage. KLBJ is quite low, and the Lunox will take care of him. That's the first blood going in favor of Evil Esports. They're not done. They want to take the turtle this time, but in comes the export. The damage is there. The fire snakes will be dealt down, and the blazing doing is there, but it's not gonna be enough. The turtle still on the graveyard. The Lunox to be safe this time. No pick up whatsoever from Sunsparks
No damage yet, and two-man Luminum Blast coming in from Dalolita, secured the kills from the side of Evil Esports, as we are now seeing the U-Mobile replay. KLBJ miscalculated the Salmon Force. 3 heroes from Sunsparks, still very far from that clash. And man, with the amount of heroes here for the side of Team Evil Esports, they really won that fight.
The mobile replay, there is gonna be more. Very good
There you go.
ultimate, but there's the way of the dragon.
Whoa.
Of course, the Chow will be taken. Mega kill for the Lunox.
Oh
Can they
my.
get more? KLBJ Chrono dashing away. And of course, the fire from Renzo.
Fire
It's
snakes.
not gonna be enough. Luca able to run away. Fuzaken not gonna land the power of nature to anyone. And Evil Esports, they disengage. 9.5k already up
Yeah.
for Evil Esports. Only 8k for Sunsparks.
Oh my, Mocker just mocking them right now because he is definitely at his maximum potential. This is what's scary about the Lunox, is that if you give her a good early game, she, or the player, I mean, can actually tower dive you every time.
Definitely.
anytime.
And it looks like they will die Fuzaken this time, but this is a Grok. Not the best target to go for.
Yep.
This time they will take, however, the core guard. They will
Core
steal
guard.
this one, but
Here we go.
Sunsparks will defend. A very good ultimate in here. The Luminous getting gas, but the Grok already down for the count. Can they get more? Yes, they will. They get the second one. Third one, of course. KLBJ
no.
will run away with the Zaman Force,
Yeah.
but the Claude trapped in a very bad spot and will be gunned down by the members of Evil Esports.
Keeping it basic is the name of the game from Evil Esports. Lots of fire damage in the early game. U-Mobile replay right there. No damage whatsoever for the side of Sunsparks. Of course, they do have the Claude, which is actually a late game hero. Plus, the X-Borg is in the top lane for the split. Man, Evil Esports
It's
is
all
putting on a show.
It's all about the early game for Evil Esports. We saw their past 4 games. They want to take control of the early game. That's why they take the Leomord. And now a very nice croc block, but Luca jumps away.
Yep.
Courtesy of the Tyrant's Revenge, the turtle will be taken by the Lunox. It gets scarier by the minute because the Lunox does have percent-based damage. And
Yep.
if you add into account the power of the turtle buff, you cannot fight against
You
that
cannot
Lunox.
fight, of course, an 8% extra burn. Ladies and gentlemen, Evil Esports lurking in the mid lane, eyeing this first tier tower. They do want to open up the jungle and, of course, the other lanes from Sunsparks.
Oh, no,
That is the setup
and the jump from the
blast.
Ultra. Oh my goodness, they burst down the Grok, and they
Oh.
will get more. The show will flicker away to the right. Now it's gonna be Luca to find him. Will they go for more? I think Evil Esports, they don't want to necessarily dive because a pick off on the Grok is more than enough already.
Oh my, Luca stretching. And they will get the BJ. Oh no, man, this is looking bad for Sunsparks as Evil Esports very confident in landing those landing those skill shots. Plus the Dead Sonata really paying off. 2:10, ladies and gentlemen, 6 minutes in, just like what Squidward is saying, evil.
Every villain is
It's lemons.
for Evil Esports. But what they're saying right now is everyone who they are facing up against can be considered lemons because they're just destroying
everyone. Too sour, man.
Oh my goodness, Evil Esports 10-2 with 20,000 in the bank, taking out 3 turrets already, only giving up 1, and now they are poising onto the bottom lane. They catch up 1 once again. There's gonna be the way of the dragon, gonna be committed by the Cho, but of course the ultimate from this Gufra is not gonna find anyone. However, Evil Esports, they are still controlling the map this time.
All right, let's see Itachi running away. Sunsparks hoping to get back from this very huge deficit. 7 minutes in, man. Evil Esports just
Oh, no way!
No, look at this. Luca backing out Gil BJ, and where's the play? No damage output whatsoever for Team Sunsparks, and that is a free turtle for Katzi 304.
I thought that we only see Luca in NBA as the Rookie of the Year, but Luca from Evil Esports
is here.
Showing us
Is here.
he's gonna be the Rookie of the Year, but there is gonna be Luca still surviving. The ultimate will be there. He will die this time, but it's gonna be a luminous last one. A connection coming up from Evil Esports as they take out 2, but the shutdown of the Lunox, the double kill from JP. It's gonna be up to Evil Esports how they will convert this 3 versus 3 in the middle. But Sunsparks, they say we have to cease fire. We have to back down.
Inspire. We need to discipline ourselves. But Itachi, that Numinum Blast, just like in the anime, popping that Sharingan and putting an end to 3 heroes for Team Sunsparks. Man, this is clearly Evil Esports, the Evil Esports game. Sunsparks still buying time. They do want to give JP this opportunity.
Watch
This
out for
is
Luca.
man,
Ooh.
Luca.
Almost hitting that, but there is gonna be the bouncing ball. Will they go for this? The stun. But of course, JP is gonna be hurt. No, definitely. Ash, can he catch up? And yes, he will. It's gonna be a kill on the Claude. Ash and Luca, this
Ash and
connection,
Luca,
my
man.
goodness. Evil Esports,
my.
they're just out for blood, and they're not stopping another catch up on this pirate, but it's not gonna be enough though.
Luca going loco. That is the Dead Sonata mega kill coming in from the Granger. Plus that extra grab coin. Itachi once again very confident. Naruto is not in sound to save your lives. 414. Oh my, Gil BJ with a slither of health.
Can you run away?
He
No, we
can't.
Distracting
He
sound.
can't. There's no stopping Evil Esports.
And the
That
ultimate
is the
control.
ultimate of the Cupra, and that is the Lord for you, man.
Evil Esports, they're relentless. They do not stop. For the past few minutes, we have that stop with our play-by-play because Evil Esports, they just keep on
They're
fighting.
not stopping.
They just keep on
It's not stopping.
finding all of these kills.
And it wasn't Squidward who said that quote. It was Mermaid Man himself. Evil. Evil for Evil Esports, man. Look at this. More aggression coming in.
Oh, aggression does not stop. Itachi is angry. He wants more. He wants to
wants
be in the
more.
upper bracket
He wants more.
of the playoffs of MO1. Renzo having to use the last insanity just to get away from Evil Esports.
Itachi.
Through the middle, there's the Lord. Manjin, what's gonna happen here?
It's in their names. Evil.
Luca, no
Esports.
way.
There you go. Here comes
No way, Luca.
Oh my. That is a Numinum Blast being charged here. 2-man knockoff.
Oh,
2-man
no.
stun coming in from Evil Esports. 4-17. That is the Lord. And Evil
Luca.
Esports putting an end to the dreams of Sunsparks for game number 1. Wow.
The kill machine.
The kill machine.
Killing machines.
The killing machines.
Evil Esports proving that they are the best
in terms of taking down the opponents, picking them apart. In terms of action, Evil Esports, they are relentless. You saw that in the game.
Yes.
They did not stop.
Yes.
Every time they find
Every
an
time.
opening, they just go for it. And with this, they get up to 7 points. They've secured their upper bracket berth. And surely they're above the clouds right now. Turkey is on the map of Mobile Legends.
Welcome to Turkey, Malaysia. Welcome to Turkey.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
I can't get over
But still, this is just game number 1. Oh
know what?
my, this is clearly an upset for us casters as well. We've been talking about this bracket since last week.
Oh man, you
But
know what?
oh man,
This is Luca
Luca
going loco.
Luca going loco, like what we've said.
So crazy with you know what?
so
I'm
crazy.
gonna say it outright. At least 4 Tyrant's Revenge connections on the Harith.
On the Harriet and
At
onto
least
one.
4.
And that was the beginning of the disaster
Exactly.
for the side of team Sun Sparks. They were just too hasty on getting this turtle.
The play.
And look at this. Team Evil took advantage of this 5-on-2
Exactly.
matchup. Plus, it's not even Evil doing the work. It is, of course, from the Uchiha clan himself, from Akatsuki himself, Itachi,
Yeah.
landing all of those clutch, huge Numinum Blast.
And of course, with the greater control and always the catch coming out from this Cobra. It's just way too amazing, and I think that all the Numinum Blasts that we've seen are stellar. It might not catch like 3 members at the same time, but whenever he catches all of those important like units, like for example this one,
Yeah.
important enough to get the kills for
Yeah.
the team.
That was the flank Numinum Blast right there
Yeah.
for Mr. Itachi.
This
But look
one,
at this,
my
this is it.
goodness.
He is going loco.
With Ash in there, just using the Phantom
Yeah.
Steed to deal the damage.
Yeah.
More than 1,000 damage, I would say.
Yep.
And this is another fight, like Luca going loco, always catching Kill VJ. And when the members of Sunsparks try to help Kill VJ, they will just be taken down because the rest of the cavalry, the rest of the villains, the evil esports team will take down. Look at how well they're playing against Sunsparks this time.
Very, very well and very aggressive and very clean. What I like about Evil Esports here is they don't care about the split push.
No,
they
no,
don't care about
none
the
of those
mashup.
shenanigans.
None of those shenanigans. We're keeping it simple. We're
Simple
simply evil.
ML.
Simple
Simply-
ML.
yeah.
Simply evil.
Simply
Simply
evil.
evil.
Oh my goodness.
And man, look at those faces. They're quite happy coming in here.
I'm sure
Dude.
that they're feeling right. I'm sure that they're feeling the
good.
momentum.
Yes, they're feeling good.
Taking down every villain, or I mean everyone
Everyone.
in front of them will just take him down. Evil Esports.
Every villain is lemons. I cannot get over that quote right there because evil, man. Look at their logo. It's
just
it
pure
is a
evil.
dead bringer. It's a dead bringer.
It's
there.
pure evil.
It's pure evil, man.
Wow, Sunsparks.
Sunsparks.
It's gonna be up to them how they can muster the
Yes.
light this time to shine down on Evil Esports. Maybe get the victory. How can they bounce back in game 2?
This is gonna be hard. They do have 4 points.
Yeah.
They still have they still have a chance in the playoffs, but I do feel that Evil Esports now secured that upper bracket. So Sunsparks, if they do come back from this, that will give them 6 points,
6 points.
and it will probably secure them the playoffs.
It is,
right?
it is.
Right?
Definitely. So here's the deal, right? Evil Esports, because they took 1 game away from Sunsparks, it's impossible for Sunsparks anymore to catch up.
Catch up to the
So
upper
that the upper bracket is no longer available for Sunsparks. Evil, they have secured themselves their upper bracket berth. Now, Sunsparks, the crazy thing here is, Manjin, hear this out, if they lose, they will only get 4 points total. That gives either Axis or Geo a chance to catch up to them. Because, you know, if Axis gets the 2-0 over Geo or vice versa, their 1 point will become 4 points.
Yes.
Tied up with,
Yeah,
of course,
one hero,
Sunsparks.
one team, and we're gonna have ourselves a tiebreaker.
For sure.
Right? And still, Sunsparks, the fans here in the Philippines, They're definitely praying right now.
You know what? You mentioned about the fans from Turkey raising their hands. I think what should be raising their hands are the Filipino
People, right?
Filipino people, raise your hands right now if you want to support Sunsparks for Evil Esports. You know what? The way I look at their team right now, it feels like they don't want to give at least a point to Sunsparks.
They don't want to.
They don't want to give
They don't want
Mercy. This is Evil Esports. Anyways,
Yeah.
Mercy is not an option for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, you're definitely right. Exactly. Look at the
My
faces of
goodness.
these guys. Look at this. Faces
Wow.
of evil, ladies and gentlemen. My oh my. Straight from Turkey to Malaysia. Putting on a show. Putting themselves on the map. And right now, the smiles on the faces of Sunsparks.
And I think we're gonna go to
I
the game.
think we're gonna go to the game. Look at their flash. He's not even doing the thumbs up. He's not smiling anymore.
You know
This-
what?
This is it. This is it.
The game indeed. I was looking at the stats right now. That's the thing with Team Evil
Your
Esports.
team is
They
banned.
can play so many types of heroes. They play
Yes.
the carry.
Yeah.
They play Garukacha.
They have Cho.
They play Sask.
Yeah.
They play Hellkurt. They have Cho, Estes, and Baksha. How do you draft against these
Your
guys?
team is banning.
Let's
Wow.
see. Let's see if the sun can still spark for Team Sunsparks here at game number 2. They will ban out
Your team
again the
is
Masha
picking.
and the Kimi. If it works, it works. From them, nothing new. They can still open up again with their Kufra, or probably with the core Granger that they had.
Definitely, I think Kufra. They picked Kufra. Oh, actually, that has been only the second time that they picked Kufra. So
Yeah.
people don't really can't really know how to counter against them yet.
Yes.
I think they also picked up the Hylos. Grok is also an option.
Yep.
And Xborg.
Yep.
And Evil Esports. You saw in the previous game, they aren't afraid to even pick the Granger
Yeah.
first pick.
They're just taking the time. And that Granger
Kufra.
does have the killing
Your team
spree.
is
Yeah.
The
picking.
killing spree assassin emblem. And that's something new. You don't see
Exactly.
players pulling off that emblem.
Killing sprees.
Yeah.
Usually
with
it's Bounty Hunter.
Usually it's Bounty Hunter, or if you want to be flashy, you go for the Electro Flash. But man, like what we've said, that is the Kufra opening right there for Evil Esports. Why fix what's not broken? Again, let's keep it simple. Here we go. Sunsparks with their own Kufra opening. Let's see.
Granger and of course the Grok is the answer from Sunsparks. I like the idea of picking the Granger right now because you don't want to give it to Evil Esports. Plus, Sunsparks, they are successful this hero anyways. It's a very good hero for
JP.
so it could be there for the team.
And it's going to be the Granger and
Your
the
team
Grok.
is picking.
What kind of comeback can Sunsparks do in this game number 2?
Cho.
It's Joe.
Wow, that
and
was
Lunox.
quick. That was quick. That was quick.
Lunox.
So back-to-back
Your
games they
team
picked
is picking.
against Geo Esports. I mean the show, and they were successful with it for sure. They also pick it up on either Ash or I think Itachi. So it could be played as a core or a support.
They're battling with 2 anime characters here,
Oh,
man. You've got Itachi from the
Your
Akatsuki
team
clan,
is
and
banning.
you've got the
From it-
world's very best. The very best
From
there
the
is.
Uchiha clan.
From the Uchiha clan.
But
Sorry,
the
yeah.
Akatsuki's their group.
Yeah, the Akatsuki's their group, right?
Yeah.
So
Lord
here we
Sensei.
go. Here we go. Kidding aside, guys, it's now time for the second phase of the picks and bans. That is the Esmeralda here. Probably the best hero right now for KLBJ. But man, this is indeed another Lunox who actually
Your
counts.
team
Wow.
is banned.
There's
This is-
Esmeralda and the Grok.
This is scary. Lolita has been banned by Evil Esports. They might be poising towards another marksman play, maybe a Granger or a Claude.
Or a Claude,
Oh, sorry,
yes.
a Claude and a carry. Next pick. Also, Lolita is one of the successful heroes for Sunsparks, and you don't want to give it with the Grok
Yeah.
and Esmeralda, which
Yeah.
could have been really good for the team.
Yeah.
So the carry is their bad. They know
Your
that something
team
is up.
picking.
They're happy to give their Claude because the Claude is not that strong anymore
In the early game.
in the early
In the
game
early
for
game.
sure. Sunsparks, what is their answer? Is this the Akai this time?
Let's see. Let's see. They need
Or
another
the
support.
Baksha?
They need
Or-
a they need crowd control.
Oh, sure.
They need crowd control.
Kaja is good because if you pair it up with the Granger,
Yeah,
there's a lot of damage that
instant
you can do
damage.
with it.
Plus, it counters it.
Kaja.
It serves as an
Your
answer to
team
the
is
Kufra.
picking.
That matchup is quite 50-50. So I like the Kaja here for the side of Sunsparks. Meanwhile, Evil Esports, the only marksman left is either the Claude or the Bruno.
Oh, no.
Oh no!
It's the Bruno.
Oh no!
They know that
Bruno.
this
Oh, no.
is effective against the lineup of Sunsparks, naturally grouping up together, and the ultimate from Bruno is gonna be incredibly good against group
Oh, no.
up type of lineup. So they're gonna lock it in.
They
What
want-
is their
Oh,
it's the Estes.
Here we go.
Oh, this is
It
scary.
is that hero. That hero. 100% win rate against Sunsparks in the MPL Grand Finals.
They will lack other
And they're-
Thams this time.
The Evil Esports is just laughing right now. They're pulling off that evil laugh.
Estes is a good hero here because if you look at Sunsparks, they don't necessarily have the burst. Yes, you do
Yes.
have the Death Sonata, but until the late or the mid game or the late game, you will not be able to use it as a burst.
Yes.
Now, the big problem you have with damage over time, like the damage of Esmeralda,
Yeah.
is that you have to take time.
Time.
And Estes, with this verification and the revitalize from the Kufra, there's just way too much healing coming up from Evil Esports.
Yes.
It's gonna be scary, but Sunsparks, they should be counting on the fact that they still have very good type of damage courtesy of the Esmeralda and the Granger.
The Granger, yes. But again, you counter the Estes with assassins, heroes that can dive in and separate him
Yeah.
from Clash. They do have that with the Kaja
the
as
Divine
well,
Judgment,
the Divine Judgment. But man, in terms of the combo, in terms of the Clash itself, Sunsparks, it looks like they do want to group. They do want to group up.
Yeah.
And Estes is the type of hero who is good, who is great in those group up
Yeah,
situations.
in 5v5 engagements, you're gonna count on the Estes. Not
Yes.
because of the crowd control or the damage, it's more about the heals.
Yeah.
Alright? Now you have to take note the Bruno exists as well from Evil Esports. It poses a different kind of threat when it comes to group in terms of 5v5 clashes.
Yep.
Because of course of the ultimate, but we're gonna find out as
5
we hop
seconds till the
into
enemy
game.
reaches the
Is
battlefield.
this the last game
Smash them.
for Sunsparks and Evil
All
Esports?
troops
We're gonna
deployed.
find out. Evil Esports now playing the blue sides. Luca back on the Kufra. Now Ash on the Cho, Mocker on this Ludox, Itachi on this Estes, and Katzi on this Bruno.
Rencho will be using the Tams, Fuziken as the Grok, JP as the Granger, Raplesha as the Kaja, and Kiel BJ on his signature Esmeralda. Standard lanes coming in from both of the teams. Luca and Mocker right here. They do want to go for the Mother Shocker and the Baby Spinner.
Oh, yeah,
But their real names are is the Statute Stalker, Shocker and the Statute
Chaser.
Spinner and the
The
Chaser.
blue
Here we
box,
go.
basically speaking.
Yep, let's do it. Ash going here in for the cut. He knows his capabilities against this Stamps pick. So back to what we were talking about. We do like the lineup of Evil Esports. They need to actually pick Itachi here. Sunsparks, I do feel that they're still focused right now. They're great in these kinds of situations, always losing, always losing one game, and then after that, coming in from a comeback.
Oh, yeah. Redemption code now up for the grabs, guys. Look at the bottom part of your screen while Luca shows you how to land a stun. Renzo will have to back away. And of course, this is your redemption code. Just head
Yes.
to mobiledge.com/code exchange and you will have the chance to
Put it
gift
in,
some
put it
gifts.
in, put it in.
Whoa.
That is the tip. Again, coming in from Gil VJ. Nice grok block from Mr. Fuzakin, but the damage is not
Turtle
enough.
resurrecting soon.
Of course, because of this heal coming in from the Moonlight, the Estes.
You know what? Manjin, what happens now is that Evil Esports, they have denied Sunsparks at least one lane of minions against KLBJ,
Yeah.
or even more, because they want to fight this time. This is the Granger with the Death Sonata falling star. It's gonna be stunned
Oh
up,
my!
cancelled by Luca once again, but the
Oh.
turtle will be slain by the Bruno. Can they get more Lunox with the Brilliance?
Nice block coming in from Luca, but that is again the ultimate from Itachi. Put in the Moonlight Immersion. Mocker will just get that Croc. One
Oh, the
is to
Divine
one.
Judgment, though.
That is a good Divine Judgment, of course, from the Gacha. There's double kill for Mr. JP. Here comes Ash. Pops that Shunfu.
Oh, nice dodge.
That nice counter go from KLBJ. And we have ourselves an even ball game. 2-1 for the first 3 minutes of this game.
Burns just says, okay, fight there up top. I'm gonna make the space, take the space here in the bottom lane.
Okay,
Yung
okay.
mobile replay, a very nice block coming out from the Kufra. That's Luca, and now he actually took a lot of time away from the Granger.
Yep.
But the first blood still goes to the Granger this time. Then they chase Fuzaken and they will get the kill. However, they have overextended this time. Raflesha just gets the level 4 in time.
You're right.
And the Divine Judgment is available. They get the kill.
Quite a long skirmish we had there. But now we are at round 2 of our objectives. We are now transitioning into the mid game. So both of these carries, they do want to get their
Oh,
buff.
what the-
That is again another falling star moon. A good falling star moon from KLBJ. They're forcing out the steep
Heals,
fight.
man.
But the heals, man. But okay. Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Take it easy for the side of Sunsparks. They're very disciplined. Immediately backing off after that one pick.
Do not overextend, just get what you can. That is indeed a kill on the core anyway, so you're pretty confident with that. Have to take note, nobody is having retribution at this point. All
Yep.
purifies, all sprints. And now Luca once again with the connection. They do
Wow.
have the bouncing ball, and there is the way of the dragon, the ultimate feign perfectly. But the counter go, the Divine Judgment to take out the choke. The
Okay.
Grok is gonna be taken
Okay.
down as well, but at least a 1-for-1 trade-off for
Turtle
Sunspark.
Resurrection.
Okay, I like the aggression coming in from Luca and Ash, but I can feel it. Raflesha is in his gaming zone, is in,
In
the
the
zone
zone, for
right
sure.
now. With all of this clutch Divine Judgment to counter go and to re-engage. But right now we do have the turtle take. Here you go, Luca with another
Oh, Luca
stretch.
with another stun connection, but of course the Grok is here. They do have the damage healing
we
coming
go.
up next. But the Lunox with the Brilliance. Can they take it down? Reviner's also there for the turtle for the Esmeralda.
That is a five-man
Oh,
Moonlight Immersion coming in for this. They want to chase, and they
Holding hands.
want JP holding hands together forever, no matter how long. That is indeed a killing spree for Mr. KLBJ, but Bruno free hitting everyone. 3-2-3.
Fuzaken!
Yeah, it is 3v3. Fuzaken, sure you can. That is a nice slam dunk for Mr. KLBJ, but again, 2-2. What an even ball game.
Action Jackson is what we're seeing right now between Sunsparks and Evil Esports. Game 1, it was all about Evil Esports dictating the tempo, but Sunsparks says, no, we're not gonna
We're not-
go out
we're
this
not gonna
way.
go
We're
out.
gonna fight.
We're
Game
gonna
number
fight.
2, they're
Yeah.
matching the movements of Evil Esports, fighting when the fight does break out, and Sunsparks are actually leading by 4,000 right now.
4,000. This is actually the reason why they banned out the carry because the Bruno
Nice verify, by the way.
is not very good
Yeah.
in the early game. He's like a mini carry actually.
A mini carry.
A mini carry.
I love it.
If this is a carry pick, that fight would have immediately
Gone
would have
in the
went to in the favor of Team Evil
Oh
Esports.
yes, let's say that as the Death Sonata signals a fight here, a warning shot from Sunsparks, but
There we go.
they themselves back down.
There we
Bottom
go.
lane, there is going to be the
On
win of the
lane.
Dragon against Reggio. Reggio, can you stay? No, you can, as Mocker is there. I think the Durance might have been available already
Yeah.
for Mocker.
Yeah,
or no, actually
it's
went for the
concentrated
concentrated energy.
Yeah, of course, JP as well locking in his BOD right now. 6 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, both of these teams, they do want to be in the driver's seat,
Yeah.
but I do feel that Ash is really doing a great job
Turtle
in
resurrecting
controlling the tempo and finding fights.
But
Look
yeah,
at this.
Yeah, just going for the split, but she have to take it. However, Manji,
What?
3 turns already gone from Evo Esports as Sunsparks already take it, and Turtle will be now in the hands
There you go.
of the Esmeralda, and there is the ultimate coming up from the Kaja.
Gets the ball, but again, Luca is just too tanky, but he will indeed die. That is a touch from Mr. Macker to the falling Star Moon. There is another block. Nice Moonlight Immersion, and the blessing of the Moon Goddess won't be enough for this Estes to save his allies. Two heroes falling down for the side of Evo
And
Esports.
Sunsparks, they will transition into taking the turret. This is a very good indication of a good team.
Yes.
Always convert your kills into objectives, and now they are up at 4 turrets down. That means they will also have so much economic advantage. 7,000 in the bank for Sunsparks in terms of gold lead.
And this is looking bad because the Bruno Katzi is not really paying off for the side of Evil Esports. They do need to buy time for him to probably get the Berserker's Fury or other core items to deal with this KLBJ Esmeralda.
Oh, nice steal coming up from Sunsparks.
Yes.
The buffs, of course, it matters a lot, especially in the mid game where you really want to fight against your opponent.
Yeah, of course.
Taking it away from your opponent is really good.
Oh no!
Oh,
That was clearly a mistake coming in from Raplesha. Nice response here for the side of Evil Esports, repelling the initiation from that Divine Judgment.
They did commit their ultimate, the Tyrant's Rage, perfectly against Raplesha.
Yes.
Very well done. Luca is really performing so well.
Yeah, very patient. Yeah.
With this Berserker's Fury.
Mr. Luca, as we've said, if we're in basketball, all this stretches, all of this Tyrant's Rage is at a 70% field goal right now.
Oh yeah.
Catching
For sure.
everyone for sure.
Bencho, however, being caught here just away the dragon, the Counter Inferno will not cut it as they take out this FAMS.
Nice
Evo
catch.
Esports, the very nice catch in there now.
Nice
Sunsparks,
catch.
however, they're looking towards the Lord.
They were trying to create space. They want to set up for this Lord. Here we go. Luca once again going for the ball. And again, man, no damage whatsoever, Mr. JP. That is a knockout coming in with Lord.
they
There's
bait
another
out
blast.
Luca.
That is another Moonlight Immersion. They bait out Luca, as you've said it. And here comes Ash once again, lurking in.
Lurking in again, Ash poising, but there's the Grok with the Part Nature hitting on the 3. Falling Star Moon gonna be cast, but the Lunox already with the Brilliance this time. Sunsparks will just back down. Fuzaken, very nice usage of the Guardian's Barrier, but it's not gonna be enough for sure. What this makes, however, is that Sunsparks will take care of the Lord.
Yes, they
Evil
will.
Esports cannot fight anymore.
Fuzaken creating space for his team to get this large fish, which is the Lord. We are at 10 minutes. This is the 4th round of objectives for both of these teams. So Team Sunsparks, they will just wait out for the Lord, clear all of their jungle, and then they will probably go for this immediate push that they want.
Rock block is there. But Evo Esports, I think they're waiting for an ambush this time. Fuzaken is actually caught in a bad spot this time. Cannot wild charge because of the bouncing ball. This time though, they have the damage. They have the Bruno in here.
That was bait! That was
Sunsparks was actually a bait. Like you said.
Debated by Mr. Fuzaken. You Fuza can't kill me, says Mr. Fuzaken. And 7-10. Nice pickup coming in from Team Sunsparks.
Sunsparks now leading by 10,000 with the Lord on their side this time. Baiting out the members of Evo Esports. Taking out the turret in the mid lane. Can they still get an inhibitor this time? They can easily do so. That's the Lunox using the Brilliance just to clear out the minion wave.
Let's see. We shall see. We shall see what kind of defense will Evo Esports do. What kind of evil thing do they have,
Itachi.
in minds?
My goodness. And the turret quickly falls. Sunsparks, they can feel it.
They can feel
Marching
it.
towards
They can
the
feel
right
it.
side, in the middle. There is
we go.
the Divine Judgment, and Bruno goes down.
That is the Bruno on the floor, ladies and gentlemen. Mortalities being brought in by the side of Team Sunsparks. That is another knock-off coming in from the Cupra. But again, that's another way of the Dragon. KLBJ just cleaning house. JP and KLBJ wrecking havoc, going ham, and it is a wipeout. We are going to game number 3.
Sunsparks with that victory earns their slot at the playoffs of M1 World Championship. And what they needed to do was just to match the movements of Evil Esports. Don't let themselves be ran over by the killing machine of Evil Esports and fight back. Sunsparks this time have dictated the tempo and taken the victory.
An eye for an eye, fighting fire with fire is the name of the game here for this Filipino squad. Very commendable. They're very commendable here. Like, for example, KLPJ not really backing down, having 706 in his stats. Oh, man.
Fuza can't touch this.
Fuza can't die.
Fuza can't die.
Fuza
Well,
can't
he
die.
did die twice.
Yes.
But KLVJ and JP, this is their comfort zone. I love that Sunsparks consider getting the Granger in their first set of picks, right? Their first and second pick.
Yep.
Which, gave them the access to their favorite hero, but also denying it away from Team Evil.
Yeah, I like the shutdown to Mr. Bruno. If you do run the Bruno lineup, you will invest a lot of time for him to be online.
Sunsparks, we know them as a team that always wins the best of 3 series.
Yep.
Will drop one game, but can definitely win a series. This is the first loss, however, of Evil Esports.
Yep.
Let's actually watch the highlights on how the story developed throughout the game.
Yeah.
There was a great time where Evil Esports are matching up against the members of Sunsparks, but there was a time where JP was already uncontrollable.
Very KLBJ is very impressive here, dodging skills in and out. And look at the discipline from Sunsparks. After that death of Itachi, the Estes, they backed off immediately. Meanwhile, Replesha is also commendable because of this clutch answer to the with the Divine Judgment. 4 minutes in, this is probably the best, the opening for Team Sunsparks as they got this turtle. Plus, there is no damage yet from Cat Z.
You know what, I hate to cut you, Manjin, but this is a very good response from Team Sunsparks. What they did was, when the Moonlight Immersion was used, they just ran away.
They
fought when the ultimate of the Estes is no longer available. That meant that the Estes is a non-factor for the team.
They studied it. They studied Game 1 and Game 2 of the MPL Finals.
Finally, they will win against
finally,
Estes.
they won against Estes for the first time. And this is where Fuza can't die. That is clearly a bait for Team Sunsparks. I love what we're seeing here, Mr. Wolf. We're going all the way. It is a home run. It is now game number 3. Man, I do feel Team Evil Esports, they do want to take this in the bag. They still have something in mind. But Team Sunsparks going back to their Zen mastery, going back to their zone, not playing tricks anymore. They're not playing with their food anymore.
That was a very important victory because they did secure their playoff spot. Now that they're at 5 points, Evil is at 7 points currently. And whoever wins the next game, will win the series, but it won't matter that much in terms of, their qualification to the playoffs. So at least Sunsparks, they can breathe right now. And all the Filipino fans and all the fans from Turkey, they all can breathe and just enjoy this game number 3.
Enjoy this game. Nothing to win, nothing to lose type of game.
Wow. But then again, these teams, they looked like they really are eager to get that victory because of how much they prioritize getting the kills.
Yeah, and they're very aggressive. Very aggressive. Here we go.
Draft
Draft number 3.
Sunsparks versus Evil Esports.
They still want this 2-1.
Definitely.
There's no mercy for both of these teams. So let's see. Sunsparks, what is their opening? They're willing to give the Estes because, again, they do know how to counter it. Just back off after that Moonlight Immersion and after that Blessing of the Moon Goddess. Meanwhile, Chango is their priority ban. Meanwhile, Team Evil Esports getting rid again of this
Masha. Yeah, for the 3rd time in a row, they ban out the Masha. They don't want to give it. Sunsparks are pretty adamant of not giving the Chango to their opponent, so it's almost the same in terms of the bans. The tricky part here is Sunsparks will have to think, are they going to give the Granger to Evil Esports in their second phase?
No,
they ban out the Kufra this time.
They're now respecting Luca.
Respect for Luca.
Respect for Luca. Respecting the MC.
MC.
Respecting the MC. Okay, let's go. Evil Esports, there's something new for them. They don't have that Kufra opening, but they sometimes pull off, again, like what you've said, the Hylos or probably another Gronk here in this fight.
Yeah.
What will be the ban?
They also banned Lolita, if I'm not mistaken, but that was the second phase.
Yes.
Hylos, like you said, is also a very important hero for both teams. But Evil Esports,
Your
we're gonna go
team
back to
is
what works.
picking.
Ban out the Kimi. Don't give it to Sunsparks, knowing that in their last series, whenever they get the Kimi, they close out the
win.
series.
They
Your
win.
team
Of course,
is
they win.
picking.
That is a good opening here for Team Sunsparks, as they have a control of the jungle due to the armor here of the Grok. Quite safe here. But look
There's
at their
the green.
faces. They're very disappointed
Wow.
with their game
Your
number
team
one.
is picking.
There you go. There you go. Instant core heroes for Team Evil.
Evil Esports already showing their hand. They want to play with the Harith and the Granger.
Yes, yes.
Quite scary, but Sunsparks, they know that they can counter this. They have Esmeralda to deal with the Harith.
Yeah. This is, and look at the thumbs up.
Oh, yeah.
KLBJ giving in the thumbs up.
All right.
He is confident right
Confident right
now. He
now.
is confident right now. When he saw the Harris
Gotcha.
pick, like what you've said, okay, go for the
Your
Esmeralda
team
right
is
away.
picking.
It's the
Non-hesitant.
not even hesitating. Like
Yeah.
I said, Gaja is the answer for Sunsparks this time.
Leomord.
But the
Oh.
Leomord,
Your
Evil
team
Esports
is
will go
banned.
back to their roots. Giving it to Ash
Yeah.
was the best thing that they did during game number one.
Yes,
And
yes.
just look at this. 3 core heroes for Evil Esports already secured. They have so much priority for these 3 picks that
Yeah.
they are willing to show their
it.
hand already.
They're willing to show it. You cannot counter our best picks.
And this is Evil
The-
Esports telling us they want to go for the killing machines
Yeah,
again.
yeah, the early game
Your
aggression.
team is banning.
That is an interesting ban, by the way, for Sunsparks. Neglecting this Baksha and Leomord fast-paced
Your
rotation.
team is
So
picking.
what's left right now for Sunsparks is probably the Claude
You
for
know,
Mr.
yeah,
JP.
the Claude.
Yeah, Claude.
If that happens, Evil Esports will pick up the Joe and they will be super duper happy about it.
Yeah.
Akai is available for Evil Esports. They can consider that as well. Lolita is also a very good pick, by the way.
I think this is a Diggy pick.
You know, Hylos, of course, is there.
Your
Hylos makes a lot of
team
sense
is
this
picking.
time. Oh,
So they have a lot of mobility. Like what we've said, that is Claude for JP. The only one S tier marksman left. But what is the hero for Renjo and Raflesha?
so it's gonna be Thames
It stamps.
or Sunsparks.
It stamps.
Evil Esports, I'm actually wondering what they will get as their last pick. We mentioned earlier that the choke could be there because they need the stun. I think Akai also merits a very important factor here for Evil Esports, so they can consider that. So let's see.
Let's see.
Claude.
Claude. Okay, there you go. As the pick. Luca. I think it's
Tams.
for
Your
Team
team
Evil
is
Esports, they're just
picking.
waiting for the hero Luca. Okay. Oh no.
Lolita.
Lolita.
Oh no.
So we mentioned about the Lolita, right? Because
Yep.
it blocks many of the skills,
skills.
from Sunsparks.
Yeah.
Have to take note. Bulwark actually cancels the Falling Star Moon.
Yes.
She
It
just
does.
receives it.
It does.
And of course, the Blazing Duet, that's gonna be food for Luca. Luca will really love to receive those bullets coming out from the Claude. And important to take note as well, you cannot use the Guardian's Barrier
Barrier.
where the Bulwark
Bulwark
is up,
shield.
so that's one thing.
This is indeed the best pick for Team Evil Esports, answering 4 heroes.
Yeah.
For the side of Sunsparks.
You know what? If anything, Manjin, it's a good answer, but I think that we're gonna see still a bloodbath
It is.
for both teams.
It is.
It's gonna be
It
kills
is.
after kills
I am
after
expecting
kills.
that as well.
Yeah.
I am expecting that this game will have a lot of action and will have a lot of rumble. Here we go. Man,
Oh,
what
wow.
a day it is.
What a day it
it's
has
the
been.
5th series.
The 5th series, we have defined the winners of the group stage, but we still want to know who is the better of the team. Is it Sunsparks
Or
or is
Evil
it Evil Esports?
Evil Esports.
We're about to know as we now head into Game 3
This is a-
pretty soon.
Yeah, pretty soon. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching us. That is it. We've got the signal. We are now going
Into
inside the game. Welcome to the
5
Celestial
seconds till
Palace.
the enemy
Evil
reaches the
Esports on the
Smash
red
them.
side. Got Z is
All
doing the
troops
Granger.
deployed.
Mocker as the Harriet. Ash will be using this Leomord. Luca as okay, Luca will play the Hylos and
Hylos.
Itachi once again
Back
is
into Lolita.
the Lolita.
Perfect. Now, Sunsparks from the Philippines, they're playing on the blue side this time. It's gonna be Renzio on the Thams, Kuzaken on the green of the Grok. I mean, it's JP with the Claude, Raflesha on this Kaja.
Here we go.
And Kill VJ with the Esmeralda.
The final game for Team Sunsparks if you're a fan in the Philippines. But meanwhile, Evil Esports just again putting on a show, putting on a great show. 50 seconds onto the first timers here. Here we go. That is clearly an invade for Team Evil Esports, forcing the Stamps to go for his lane.
Wow, that was a poor guard aggression from Evil Esports, and they will keep themselves intact up top as Leomord is there with the dash and the momentum, but receiving some damage from the Claude.
Okay.
They will dive in. Falling Star to
First
finish it off.
blood.
Sunsparks gets first blood.
I like the response. An exchange for that core guard will be a first blood, and of course, a tower. We've talked about this yesterday. That it's better that you get the first tower because it will definitely open up the map, and of course, it will undoubtedly increase your income
Your
better.
economy, exactly. And what you do is to always have a composition where you can push the first turret.
Yes.
Because you can get the kill up onto your top lane, wherever you're playing, if you're playing blue or red.
Yep.
Whatever happens, you're playing on the top lane.
Yep.
Turtle
You
resurrecting
overcome
soon.
it with so much damage and initiations, and then you push it. It's
Yeah.
not enough that you fend off your opponent.
Your opponents.
You need to take the turrets
Yeah.
with it.
Because turrets wins games.
Yes.
That is the reason why we're playing MOBA right now. But Evil Esports just inside the bushes, lurking and eyeing this turtle. Here we go. A Zaman Force.
Wow. Very early.
Very early for Mocker. So Sunsparks knows this. There's no Zaman Force for Mocker. So this is clearly an advantage for them. Four heroes
Four
are
of
here.
Flecha.
Here comes the Flecha once again with another clutch pickup. That is the Blazing Do It for you. Plus the block from this Grok. But man, Luca is still alive. Ash with a counter go. Waving that sword. Okay. 2-1 is the score, but this is a one-on-one, of course, here in the bottom lane. Make that 2-on-1.
Jay threatened by Katzi. Katzi actually to steal that Grammar away.
Wow.
With Esmeralda, so a very nice steal. Evil Esports, they still are trailing behind by a lot. You have to take note. Sunsparks, they have the lead.
Yeah.
About 2,000 almost this game, or 1,500.
It's still not over. Still not over yet. I mean, what I'm saying is that Sunsparks knew that the Zaman Force was not online. But again, Evil Esports with a good maneuvers and great decision making, backing away from the Grok block, and again, Ash with a clutch disengage.
Ash is here, found by Buzakin. There'll be a fight. Raflesha knows that something is up in the bushes, so Evil Esports will just transition into the turtle this time.
Okay.
Really catching up, really recovering in terms of the economy.
Good recover here. Like what you've said for Team Evil Esports, Kadzi now having his nimble blade. I'm not sure if that's a Raptor Machete, but again, Evil Esports, they're investing a lot in this late game. I do like the matchup between both of the marksmen here. JP opting to go for the high and dry to sustain that lane. That is the best jungle emblem right now for this Claude. Nobody is using the Bounty Hunter anymore. But again, as I say this, like what we've said, Team Sunsparks looking for blood, looking for fights.
Bloodlust Axe, very early taken by Ash this time. And if you look at it, it's Festival of Blood, not Bounty Hunter or Killing Spree or High and Dry for Ash.
Yeah.
Going for the sustained battle because he
classic.
knows they want to fight.
Yeah.
Because of this Granger, Harith, and Leomord pick, they know that they want to prioritize getting the kills. Luminum Blast gonna be whiffed and killing off 99.9% of charms, but however, JP outrunning the gunman from Evil Esports. Wow, what a play.
Like, he's asking Kadzi, hey, who's the better marksman?
I'm gonna show you.
I'm gonna show ya. I'm gonna show ya. But again, okay, there's a 4-on-5 fight. That is the plan. Coming in from Fusa again. Luca is just too tanky right now, soaking a lot of damage. With Sun Sparks, they are in control. Controlling the tempo of this game. 5 minutes in this game. Katsi, actually, we've talked about this game number 1. Like what we said, they want sustained fights. They want to prolong the team fight. This is quite a good option for him with the killing spree, which gives you 30 a lifesteal after you kill a 1.
Exactly.
But again, Evil Esports, their aggression has fallen down.
They will
Turtle
chill out
resurrecting
this
soon.
time. This is the lowest skill score so far for both of these teams
Yeah.
when they face up against each other. So this is, both of them respecting the
Respect.
prowess, their kill process.
Yeah.
As they say that though, it looks like there will be a clash match.
There we go. That is a zoom out in our camera right there. That is another Zaman Force. 3-man knockoff coming in from the Grok. Canceling the aggression for the side of Evil Esports. Man, what a play for the side of Sunsparks. 1-1 is our score. Someone is pinging the top lane. KLBJ and company getting Luca. You can't go loco here. 5-2. Very disciplined here for the side of Sunsparks.
You say that LVJ is actually pretty far forward, but again, this is an Esmeralda. Knows his capabilities. Have to take note, the Numinous Blast was there. The angle was correct.
The angle was correct.
What Fusaken did was to just use the Wild Charge. Watch out for the Wild Charge. There you go.
Wow.
Cancel on the
Wow.
Numinous Blast. Perfectly done.
It's like Ken from Street Fighter.
Sure you can.
Sure you can, says Fusaken, knocking 3 heroes in the air and giving Sunspark this certain amount of advantage for at around 6 minutes of our game. 4,000 gold lead right here.
There's the basic do it. The only start with the counter of the Zaman Force. However, Luca gonna be left to his own accord as the Glorious Pathway is already there. They will not chase. They say that though, somebody's taking care of business up top and he might be cut off by the members of Sunsparks. No, they won't. They will just focus on the turret this time.
Alright, they will force this one. They want to get Ash. That
they
is the
can.
force right there. But you're not in the Old Town Road, says Sunsparks.
Numinous Blast.
Another Numinous Blast.
Nice dodge.
Missing, hitting nothing but germs. Here we go. Sunsparks, very self-assured in diving the tier 2 tower.
And Fusaken is happy. He's farming in the middle, already able to facilitate to take the mid lane turret. So that is 4 turrets taken down by Sunsparks, elevating their lead by up to 6,000 gold by 7 minutes and 50 seconds. Manjin, I think that is already so high.
That is so high and they are unfazed. Meanwhile, Team Evil Esports,
Fusaken is farming.
yeah, they don't even know who to focus fire right now. Is it going to be the Tams or is it the Esmeralda? Lots of sustain actually for the side of Sunsparks.
You know what? The poorest guy in Sunsparks right now is the Kaja.
The Kaja.
But the Kaja is still richer than this Granger. That's scary. Sunsparks,
that's
they're
scary.
leading by extremely.
Yeah, that is bad news.
Hi.
That is bad news. Here we go. That is the Lord coming into your screens, and JP will immediately get it. He wants to end this now. No more joke time.
This time they will take it in their hands. They will go for the Lord. The Lord has been slain.
This is very interesting because Luca was very impressive in the previous games, but now he has a Hylas. Hylas is quite passive in terms of initiation, unlike the Kufra. So this is a very different game for him.
Definitely.
Mocker is the one initiating fights, but you can definitely get out of the Zaman Force
You can
whenever
just
you see it.
disengage.
Yeah, you can disengage.
That is exactly what they're doing, right? If you look at game number 2, they just went away from the Estes when
Yes.
the bullet immersion was
Yes.
available. And this time when the Zaman Force is available, they just back out. They don't have enough high to disengage. But what they do is just, okay, let's get away from the zone, from all of the terrain.
Zone, yeah, alright.
Terrain-based skills that Evil Esports are doing.
Oh my, KLBJ. It's because of the thumbs up.
Oh yeah.
It's because of the thumbs up. That is the signal. That was the signal of KLBJ. Hey, dude, I got this. I got this from the Philippines. Let's see, ladies and gentlemen, they are knocking at heaven's door here in the bottom side. That is the Bulwark Shield for the side of Mr. Itachi. First objective secured by the side of Sunspark. Make that 2 towers.
Can Evil Esports still fight against this? Inhibitors are down, and Sunsparks, they're still threatening the mid lane. Will they dive? I don't think they should be. As Sunsparks, they cannot afford to make the mistakes this time.
They're patient,
Oh,
patient.
Divine Judgment into the
Wow.
ball charge into the falling star moon. What a combo! The chains of stuns.
The chains
Sunsparks takes
stuns.
down the Evil.
Okay, Raplesha with 6 assists. Man, three divine judgments, 3 clutch divine judgments to get this picks and to have the advantage. Sunsparks clearly on a lead and owning
Oh yeah,
Evil Esports.
they love this.
They love this. The Filipinos back at home are smiling right now. Meanwhile, Turkey, yes, they secured, of course, the slot for our playoffs. But again, who is the better player? Who is the better team? That is the question right now.
Is the
for this
question
game.
indeed, as the start connects on the Esmeralda this time. Art of Thievery, well, there's still some movement speed and attack speed. JP, of course, they will
Wow.
pick up the Harriet. Wow! It's amazing once again.
That's amazing, and I think that's game. No core heroes left for the side of Evil Esports. What a good Luminum Blast. Batman kill. BJ, the king, posterizing Evil Esports, and the Filipino pride is still alive. Sunsparks getting 2-1 once again.
They will secure this series victory for sure, and they will secure their playoffs spot. And more importantly, they have won the hearts of many for sure. They will make their fans confident, but you have to give it to Turkey, man. This team from technically nowhere,
Yeah,
out
yeah.
of the map, out
Yeah.
of the radar,
Yep.
showing up
Yep.
this time 2-0, back-to-back 2-0s, and then making it work for Sunsparks with 7 points in this bracket. They're so happy for sure.
I do feel that Evil Esports, they are the dark horses
I'm
of,
sure.
Of this tournament. Congratulations to Sunsparks. The Filipinos now they're celebrating because they secured, of course, the playoffs. But man, I do want to talk about Evil Esports more as man. This is ML. You cannot count out teams. Yeah, anyone who is
Not
not
at
in
all.
the radar. Who is not in the radar.
Not at all.
Not at all.
You-
Yeah.
Oh, we will talk about that later
Yeah.
as we discuss the highlights this time, so we can see how the story developed. You have to take note, this is the first turn and take.
Yeah.
Back-to-back games, they did this. They ganked the safe lane, and then they take down the hero in there, and then push the turret.
Yeah,
This
big-
time, though, was a good retaliation, a very good Death Sonata, but the discipline from the side of Sunsparks, they just backed down
They just backed
after
down.
a kill.
Yep. You're definitely right there. 6 minutes into the game, this was the second turtle take
Yeah.
for both of the teams, and that was an astonishing way of Fuzaken using the wild charge, not
Sure.
even hitting the wall, just do the knock up and do the immediate counter goal
Exactly.
for Team Sunsparks, and that sealed the deal. That sealed the deal. That is the nail to the coffin here for this team, and with that, 7 minutes in, Sunspark very confident and going for the very aggressive plays. Not that hasty, but still, these are calculated risk plays for the side of Sunsparks,
Oh, yeah.
and that ended the game.
Definitely, I think that whenever they fight, it's to their advantage this
Yes,
time.
it's to
Right?
their
If you look back at game number 1, they were reacting so heavily against Evil Esports that they don't really necessarily take advantage of what they have in terms of draft. That also happened with their second series and their first series. This time, in their back-to-back victories against Evil Esports, they counted on the fact that they have a little bit of an advantage in different facets of the game,
Yeah.
like the killing machine in game number 2 or the objective taking in game number 3.
Evil Esports is the team to look out for.
For sure.
I do
For
feel
sure.
I do feel that they are, even though they're evil, they can be the anti-heroes of
Maybe.
this entire tournament.
I'm sure.
right?
No, after watching this,
After watching
and if
this?
you're a fan of Mobile Legends, you're gonna have to appreciate what Evil Esports has done. Technically speaking, people don't know them just yet. Maybe, of course, the Turkish know them.
Shout outs to the people in Turkey.
Oh yeah,
You have a great team, and
Yep.
probably you're looking at the next champions. What a great
what
storyline
a great
as well.
story.
Right?
If that happens,
If that
man,
happens, man.
they're gonna make a fan out of me for sure.
Wow.
Good games to everyone.
Good games.
Definitely from both Evil Esports and Sun Sparks.
Yeah.
For sure, a lot of stuff that we have learned through Mobile Legends. You know, this will be the only series that we saw almost the same bands,
Yeah.
like the Chango as well as the Masha.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that they would be the band material in the
this-
World
in the
Championship?
yes.
Wow,
Man, I do think that this is the best game for today.
the best series.
Best game, the best series for today. Clearly an upset for the
I
side
wanna-
of Evil Esports.
I want to know what.
as well. I don't know as
Looking
well.
forward. I'm looking forward to knowing what they think about the game because it was really